wrapped around your soul with no control. You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I'll run, I'll hide. Darkness always clouds my mind. When I look behind, it's moving closer every time. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, my old friend, you get me in the end. See you at the end. At the end. Can you feel it wrapped around your soul with no control? You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, my old friend, you get me in the end. See you at the
What's going on? Will Stewart here with another THFC rant. It's Friday. It's Friday. What's going on? A lot of big news today. Who watched the Harry Kane interview? Who watched that? I'm thinking about doing a reaction video to that. You know, where they put it up on the screen and talk over the top of it. I gotta figure out how to do that without getting in trouble first, though. Cody, I'm gonna kill you. What's going on, Lila Kim? 안녕하세요. So my thoughts on that video, man. Who else thought that Harry Kane took some shots at some of his fellow teammates in that video? Huh? It looks to me like he was taking shots. Boom, shots fired. Shots fired. Is that official? Did I miss that somehow? I like Nuno, personally. I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't. Flamethrower says he's glad that he did. Someone other than Josie had to do it. I agree with you. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it a long time. It wasn't only about their fitness. It was about a lot of things, right? Good morning. 안녕하세요. And Kane loves Jose's facts and he's winning mentality. Facts. No, he simply said that a lot of the other players on the team that they had a poor mentality, right? Super poor mentality. And that they, you know, there were some personality conflicts there in the locker room. We all know who he's talking about. We all know who he's talking about. Let's handle the business. Business side for the folks, the super. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. We've got the business side, the folks who make all of this possible. Williams Rangers, Spartan 7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, Mama Coates, Celery Agent, AG, Kogumanim, Tony Gonim, and Alex Burlington, the newest member of Williams Rangers. But you know what's funny is somebody actually commented earlier today that the shape that happened to come in, and I've just put this in order of people who joined, is the trophy. How ironic is that? Right, the shape of the names there, it's in the shape of a trophy. It's pretty funny, right? Pretty ironic, don't you think? Sorry, a little Alanis Morissette there for you. We've also got www.thfcrants.com, where you can get show merch, memes from the Spurs family community. We got Moon Boots, the bun, some Enoch Out stuff, which the proceeds go to charity on that shirt. And the newest one, which I think is kind of funny, you guys will have to tell me what you think about it. Kind of came up with it on Bob's show last night. I'm sure all of you watched Bob's show already because that show's kind of gone viral. Only cost $5 million. It's pretty funny. That, sirs and ladies, is pretty dang funny. That's right, the Rangers Cup. It's a good name for like an idea at some point. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I've been busy at work. I just literally stepped away to hang out with you guys for a little bit. So I'm going to watch that back in a minute. I know. I'm for a YouTuber who's supposed to be talking about current topics. I'm ill prepared. Neil's in the house. What's going on, Neil? bring you guys into the show, like with the comments. Let's bring the comments up in the show here. My face is too big. It makes me nervous. No one wants to see my face anyway. Nobody wants to see Will's face this close. Pop it out. Pop it out and share it. Yeah. Neil wants to know if I think that Daniel Levy sells to a rival. He's done it before. Saw Cam. Shall we say more? Kay says, if any other manager acted the way Mason does towards the Endon Valley question, would everyone have their back? No, look, I don't have Ryan Mason's back in the first place. All right? I don't have Ryan Mason's back in the first place. This song is driving me nuts. Change that. Let me change that. It's because I'm a little more upbeat, not so bring the volume down a bit. So I'm a little more upbeat. Big up Will and Cody. Thank you very much, Terry Wright. I appreciate it. You guys rock. Look, I'll tell you what. I never thought that in 2 months we'd be sitting right at like almost 700 subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're watching this now, we would totally appreciate it. We're making the push to 1K. Only have 300 left to go. And to be honest with you, that could happen in one day, right? If everybody out there in YouTube lands who likes to walk the show, you know, loved it, and just went ahead and hit that red button, you know, hit that red button right there. Ring the bell so you can notice when we get notified live. And we'll be at 1,000. Don't forget to like the stream too. That really helps it get out there. YouTube likes to push the ones. If you like it, YouTube will push it to other people to see if they like it. And it's a circular chain. So helps for sure. There's my man Mike Pepper. Yeah, I've been going around to other tubers' channels, and I've been finding my friends in the comments over there, you know, doing the Daniel Levy out work, you know, they're going around doing that work, and I've been bigging them up. Todd, I love you, fella, but you sound like Cody Mack. Todd and Cody Mack isn't worth the breath. We'll never see him again after Sunday. I mean, that's true. Hopefully. Hopefully, we don't see him again after Sunday. But you never know. You never know where Daniel Levy's sitting upstairs, what's going to happen throughout the summer. Could be stuck with him all next season. Hat's on crooked. There we go. My hat is on crooked. Crooked auto. Why is Mason dead to Cody? Cody was Mason's biggest fan. What's that? You think Levy told Mason to stick with him and he'd make him explode? Yeah, probably. No, but my fear is what's happening is every other manager of quality is going to turn us down. So Levy's just going to decide to manage the club himself via Mr. Ryan Mason. It's a little dark. It's supposed to be a day show. I think Mason makes Levy explode on a daily basis, I suppose. Thank you, Ethelstan. I think it's the first time we've agreed, mate. I love you for watching the show. I love it. Hanging out, chatting with the comments. If you have anything specific that you want to throw in there a at WillStewartTHFCRants. I know it's a lot to type in. But if you're on a PC or a desktop, you just got to type in like Will and it'll pop up and you just hit go. There's the comments are starting to come in pretty thick now, so it's just easier to grab them. If you at me, then you'll see the little red. There you go, like just like that. Athelstan, no, my man, you're the man. But hey, that's good to know. Like even if you disagree on other parts, there are other parts that you can agree upon. That's always good. Lila says here, Kane's interview. I do understand what Kane said in the interview, but I think it would be great if he talks after the Leicester City match, which is the last game of the season. No, I agree with you, Lila. I think the timing could have been a lot better. You know? Thanks for staying up late with us. Timing definitely could have been better, for sure. But maybe it's a kind of, I don't know. Maybe Harry Kane watched my video where I pleaded and begged with him to kind of pull a Messi and call out the chairman and get something done. Maybe this is his way of doing that, but just in not as good of a way. Well, thank you, Eva, for staying up late in Hong Kong. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. But if you have things to do, make sure to go to sleep on time. You need a good rest tomorrow. Would you rather shave your beard off or watch no Spurs games next season? Just a question. That's a tough. Right now, that's a tough decision. Because not watching them isn't really the tough decision when it's horrible right now. And you're a go-getter, Eugene. So for people that don't know, if you see that Persuasion TV, I kind of, if people who watched our rant stream Wednesday night remember, made a suggestion to Eugene or Lockman or lots of different things that he goes by, to kind of start a channel over there for the folks like Eva and Lila and stuff like that, and call it Persuasion TV. And he's gone and done it. So I'm sure it's not set up yet, but go ahead and do that. Go ahead and find Persuasion TV. Drop them a like and a sub. He'll be going times when are convenient for you guys over there in Australia and Asia. But yeah. Do you think Spurs will get relegated if Kane and Son leave? I think it's a possibility. It depends really on Daniel Levy, right? Whether he wants to be relegated or not. Is he going to is he going to invest in the summer? Is he going to buy players that need to be bought? Right? You know, that's the thing. So he's testing at the moment. Lila Kim says, no Nuno, please. I think Nuno could be okay. I really do. With the right players. The right players, I think Nuno can be okay. I don't get the hate against Nuno. Wolves came out of nowhere, finished in the top 7, top 8, first 2 seasons in the. You could say this: he's done a better job with Wolves coming into the league than Bielsa has done with Leeds. Facts. Right. I mean, this year with Nuno is not Jose Jr., right? Don't believe that rumor and that hype, right? How is Nuno Jose Jr. when do we need to go into it? Do we want to look at the result, the fixture results from the 2018-2019 season? Right? They were blowing away bottom half teams. Results. Because he's Portuguese, everybody, I guess, assumes he's Jose Jr. You know, they beat West Ham 3-0, beat Leicester 4-3, beat us 3-1. Lost to us 3-2. And then year after that, let's see what they did. Last year with the COVID year. Beating Everton 3-0. Beat us 3-2 again. Beat Woolwich 3-0. Southampton 3-2. Man City 3-2. Yeah. I don't know. 100% Cody Mack. Bob is better. Bob and Stelios will be better than you, though. See, I'm confused on that. Like, you guys have to explain the logic on to me, right? You have you say that Bielsa is a kick-ass manager, but Nuno isn't. Both of them brought up a championship side, and Nuno has finished in his first 2 years higher than Bielsa did. So why is Nuno worse than Bielsa? Just curious, the logic there. What's the explanation? I don't think so. I thought Wolves were exciting to watch to play until Jimenez got injured. Right, this year they've been bad to watch because they have no players. They have no players. No players at all. What other questions did I miss while I was in there? Steve Hitchen in here? Steve Hitchen says, how about that Gattuso bloke? No, Steve, I don't like him. Pick somebody else. I don't mind Nuno, Steve, but the rest of the folks in here seem to not like him. Nuno, for sure. I'm telling you, I don't want no Ron Weasley, right? I am anti-ginger. Anti-ginger manager. But yeah, they're a championship side just 2 years ago who hasn't spent a ton of money. I like Aston Villa. I mean, who could you say was more successful? Right? Wolves and Villa, I think, came up the same year. And, you know, Wolves have done, minus this year, Wolves have done better than Villa. Like, even with the lack of players, the lack of depth, and the, you know, horrible injuries that Wolves have had this season, they're still sitting in 12th, right? Right behind Villa. Right behind Villa. Right behind Villa. A year earlier. So that means they had a. Did they have a result in? Oh yeah, because this is Villa's second season, right? Second season. You would take the Villa coach and Grealish and Ings 3 for 1. I'd take Grealish. Oh, that's it. Just Grealish. Number one manager choice is actually possible. I don't even know what's possible right now, to be honest with you, mate. Like, I don't know. %. Could you imagine if Kane was out for the whole year? Well, we're about to imagine Kane being out for the whole year. We'll see where we finish next season. And I mean, just even the rest of their squad. I mean, there's a few players from Wolves that I'd take. I think Neto's quality. Not only did they lose Jimenez, but they also lost Jota, which is a big loss. I mean, look what he's done for Liverpool this year. I mean, he's won Liverpool games this season, so he's won them matches. Priya Nash, wow. Make sure you don't put a space between the @ and the W. Then it'll pop up orange on the screen. But if you're put that space in there, it won't pop it up. I might miss it. THFCRants United are in the race for Danny Ings, and that's music to your ears. Yeah, okay. Sure. As long as he doesn't come to Spurs. I'm cool with that. Cool with that. David says, thoughts on Heung Hee-chan from RB Leipzig? I just haven't seen enough of him playing, David. He hasn't played that much. I mean, it's like an early developmental one or something like that. You know, it would be a shout. But I don't think he's played enough games for RB Leipzig yet to really get a good view on what he can do at that top level. Because last time I looked on SofaScore, it's like he had no goals. So, yeah. No goals. Buzz Aldrin for manager? Only if you're keeping moon boots. Only if you're keeping moon boots. He says there, which manager appointment would make Kane stay? Allegri, maybe? Yeah, there's a lot of Davids, especially English names for Korean lads. David is a very popular one. It's like Grace for the girl on the girl side, right? Like it's like Grace and David. Those are both very good names, though. By the way, so I'm not making light of or making fun. Just saying. What about Steven Gerrard? He knows a good player when he sees them. Does the manager even matter at this point for Kane? He must know it's all Livy. 100%. I agree with you. No energy, no spirit left in you. Lila Kim says Zidane or Flick. Now, Zinedine Zidane might be able to make Kane stay. Right, being a legend that he is, that may be something that might influence Harry Kane to give it a year or not. You know, not that I think that necessarily Zinedine Zidane is any kind of successfully skilled manager or anything like that. Although he did kind of keep together a bumbling, rumbling Real Madrid side from falling completely apart. Zidane in, Bale out. Regulon will probably go out too, because they don't get along either. So, but I tell you what, Zinedine Zidane would be. Look, I'm talking from like a mentality standpoint, from a take crap standpoint. I wouldn't mind Zinedine Zidane. Look, if you're Zinedine Zidane and you've got no problem benching a semi-prime Bale, right? Because you got to remember when he was benching Bale, Bale was only like, 28, 29, 30. Yeah. Somebody who's got a lot of man smell. Somebody's got a lot of man smell is going to be out there and he's going to be putting people in their place and telling them, putting them in their place, bringing them back down to earth. Right? I don't particularly like Zidane, but you never know. Hey. Did you jump into the stream and then out of the stream? Because like I said, there's no Ron Weasley. is going to be the manager of Tottenham Hotspur. I am anti-Ginger. Ten Hag, okay. Rangnick, okay. But no Potter. No Potter. No Potter. No Ron Weasley. Do I need to make a picture of them side by side? Ron Weasley and Graham Potter? Legrandt Kemming, Zidane, probably going to Juventus and Flick managing Germany. Thank you, Aaron Barnes, Mr. Chelsea fan. Three realistic signings you want for next season. I don't even know what realistic is. I don't even know what realistic is right now. What is realistic? Right? Do you guys know what realistic is right now? I totally don't even know what realistic is. Here we go, Tony. Tony says, I wouldn't mind Nuno. I think people are underrating him. I agree. I agree. If you want a rebuild manager, what I think he's probably a pretty good one. Probably a pretty good one. I think he's balanced. I don't think he parks the bus. Right? I guess it's just the fact that some people just really dislike a three at the back formation. Three at the back can be really attacking if you want it to be. It's all about the intent and the attitude. And to be honest with you, we don't have an attacking team right now. It's obvious. Somebody who's, I don't want to say pragmatic, but somebody who's smart, I think, is who knows how to get a tune out of. Look, a lot of these players got to go though. The mentality right now is just so awful. Right? It's horrible. Mentality right now is horrible. Horrible. For rebuild, Ten Hag would be good for us, but Levy won't get him after being snubbed. I don't think it was snubbed. I think he just did it to grab in some money for his club instead of going on a free. But dude, I don't even know what signings Levy would consider right now. That's the problem. I mean, what does that mean? Like under 30 million? I'm like I don't know what's realistic right now. I have no idea how Daniel Levy's going to react this summer. You know, does Kane go? Does he sell him for, a decent chunk of cash? And does that money actually get put back into the squad, or does it just go out into the debt, or what? Like, I have no idea what's realistic this summer. I mean, people who aren't like, Holland or Ronaldo, Mbappe or something like that. I mean, Leon Bailey would be one that I would go after. We need a right winger if Bale doesn't stick around. To be honest with you, I'm questioning now too how effective, how consistent Gareth Bale is. Definitely need, at least one really good center back. One of the three Inter Milan boys would be good. I mean, Botman maybe, but I'm not 100% sold on Botman, to be honest with you. But better than probably a lot of the things we've got, though. Let me find the ones that were added at me. And then, Ishra. Will Doherty become better under Nuno? No, I mean, that just depends on the formation that he plays, right? That just depends on the... Neto from Wolves. Yeah, he's good. But what I think what's funny is like everybody's so dead set against Nuno, but a lot of people like his players. And the players look good because of the way the coach has them playing, right? No? Coach doesn't get credit? Rafina from Leeds is a baller. I agree, 1,000%. 1,000. I like Rafina. The dude's sharp. We could go, we could go get all of Leeds' team. Look, I rate not all of them, obviously, but Dallas, Phillips, Fina. I take those three right there. Although they'll come to Spurs and then end up being garbage. That's just what we do. Son is a striker. Son isn't really striker. You know what I mean? He's definitely a winger. Right? Pace is his game. Pace and quick movement. Yeah, he's a bit old and old-fashioned, but hey, I wouldn't mind it, dude. I wouldn't mind it. Ailing from Leeds, he's okay. I mean, Dallas, Phillips, Rafinha are easily their best players. Bamford too, but get Tom Brady for center back and Gronk for Harry Kane replacement. I'd rather have Gronk for center back. Could you imagine Gronk playing center back? It would be kind of funny. Mr. K, go somewhere. Would you say we need a manager who favors three at the back to give us some more defensive stability? That just depends on what we do in the transfer window, right? Like this is so like I can't even. These questions are really hard to ask without knowing what's going to happen. What is Daniel Levy going to spend? Is he not going to spend? What manager's coming in? What manager's not coming in? Are we going to be stuck with Ryan Mason for the whole of the next season? I have no idea what's going on this summer, but hey, I'm here to answer your guys' questions because this show is about you guys. You guys are the most important for this show. In about 15 minutes, so I'm sure some of my friends will be joining me. WillStewartTHFCRants, why are so Spursy that we could get Pep, swap our entire squad with Man City, and they would probably still win the league ahead of us? Look, I don't know if that's the case. I think that's taking the Spursy thing a little bit too far. No, Caleb. No. None of this Ings replacing Kane talk. None of it. I want none of it. None of it. That gets the moon boots of the day comment. Transfer window is going to show us what intentions really are. I agree, Island Life. I agree. I wouldn't say that they're looking to sell Kane to Chelsea. I think Chelsea are looking to get Kane. I think it's the other way around. Heavy lights, the moon boot sounds. I know what you meant. Typo. I do it all the time. Would you take Sterling, Jesus, and Harrison from City? Sterling, Jesus, and Harrison from City for Kane. Yeah, but I mean, there's no way they're giving us Sterling, right? And where would we play Sterling and Son? I mean, Gabriel Jesus would be a good backup and stuff like that, but yeah, Cody's good. Yep, I knew what you meant. We were right here, Abby. We were right there. We were right there. Could the Kane interview be a tactic to get Levy to spend more this summer because Kane knows he's not allowed to leave this summer? Could be. But I mean, all it's going to do is just piss Daniel Levy off, right? Airing out the dirty laundry, calling out your teammates, putting him on the spot. I like it, Harry. I like it. Turn my light up. There you go. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Vietnam. Peter P says he get our Cardi Grealish for the money we get for Kane, but our board won't get players like that. They'll be average players. Look, I agree. Cardi. Look, I need somebody. I want a creative. You know, type number 9. All right, get Grealish in. I want to play a 4-3-3 with Grealish and Son on the left, and Ndombele and Rafina on the right. Bro, we need so many. We need so many new players. It's not even funny. It is not even funny. 안녕하세요. Tonigoshi. Thank you very much for being a Patreon and watching the show. Cody Mack is telling you guys to like and subscribe. You know what to do. Yeah. I got that little thing down there, but I think people just glance over it. I agree. Welcome to the show, Crimson Cad 3. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the comments. Thank you for watching. We agree with you here that we are selling the wrong Harry. No need to keep posting it in there. We agree with you. You will not find any Winks fans on this channel. Well, I mean, guests maybe, but not anyone from the channel. You know what I mean? Boy from the lane. First time I've seen you here. Thank you for watching the show. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. I think there are two scenarios. Scenario one, Leicester finished outside the top four. Rodgers come in, gets given money. Kane stays for one more year. Scenario two, Leicester get top four. We get Ten Hag, and Kane leaves. It's good. Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. But, you know. Could be whatever it could be. A Højbjerg transfer? Who's talking about noise about Højbjerg transfer? Who's looking for Højbjerg for 30 mil? Who's doing that? Look, I wouldn't mind Rodgers, I guess, but I don't think he's coming. I mean, if he does, great, cool. Look, am I excited about Rodgers? No, I'm not. I'm really not. But I mean, for what we are right now, it's not bad. It's not horrible. We're going to find it so hard to attract players this summer. It's going to be so hard to sell the dead wood. I don't think it'll be that hard to sell the dead wood as long as you're willing, as long as they're not being. Look, this is what I'm afraid of, right? Because these players aren't on our side in the first place. The hardest part about getting the dead wood is them leaving. Them choosing to go to a club that they feel is beneath them, right? Their selfishness and digging out their contract. That's going to be the hardest part about getting Deadwood. It's because they're crap players and no quality team is going to want them. But they think that they're the top, top tier. They're the best of the best. So they're not going to settle for anything less. It's just going to be a. I swear, if Daniel Levy extends any more of their contracts, I'm just going to absolutely lose my mind. I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind. It's a good question. That's why it's hard for me to answer these questions, a lot of them, It's hard for me to answer a lot of these questions because we don't know. We don't know what's going on. We got Stefan Robinson here. Honestly, I don't get how off Levy is. For years, our recruiting has been off. Levy has never thought, why don't I try to bring up some top scouts from Bayern? They ain't rocket science. Like, Stefan, I agree with you, man. 100%, bro. 100%. Welcome to the show. I think this is the first time I've seen you comment as well. I don't have a perfect memory, but I remember most people. And if you're new to the show, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We've got lots of shows coming up. And lots of different people on this channel too. It's not just me. There's a lot. Right now we have 2 other shows that run on the channel. Hopefully we have more in the future. WillStewartTHFCRants, do you think we should have kept Jose as he had already identified the useless players at this club? Yeah, it would have been easier. I think it would have been easier. I think it would have been easier. Skibby, my favorite Liverpool fan. What's going on? I hope you're well. I must admit, I found it really emotional seeing Harry Kane doing his lap of honor. Really felt for him. He would clearly prefer to stay, but I get it. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's 100% true that he would prefer to stay. Definitely wants to prefer to stay. And yeah. That's the way it is. Definitely wants to prefer to stay. And you guys, I'll tell you what, we got a little bit of stuff coming on. But before we go into the Creators Corner segment of the show, which starts in about 5 minutes, Make sure you get in your last questions in. And then we'll do some business before we bring in the friends. And got Pilch 58. I've seen you around the show a couple times, Pilch. Thanks for watching today. I'd like Gerard. Well, he'd settle Kane down. People tell me, what about Liverpool? But Klopp is safe for a couple seasons, and if Gerard moves on, then we have Poch lined up for Gerard. Ticks more boxes. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But I just don't know how good of a manager Gerard is, you know? I mean, the Scottish Premier League is one thing, you know? The English Premier League is another. Yeah, I hit you and Cody on Twitter. Always love. Well, good deal, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Breaking news. Winks, Sissoko, Sanchez, and Dyer are all crap. Oh. You better be joking, Stuart. It's not even funny. Not even funny. I agree with Pilcher. Yeah, we need someone. What's up, Lewis? Thanks for joining in. Stefan says, you know, it's bad when I have to start a new manager career mode every night just to sell off the majority of the squad. That's my anger. Don't disagree. I don't disagree. What's going on, Lamau? Yes, I know LMAO. I just like to say Lamau. It's funnier that way. Hey, Will, love your shows, mate. What is your feeling on Nuno Espirito Santo being linked to Spurs? He's been linked several times this season. I mean, is he like, to be honest with you, I've been busy today. I haven't got to check in a lot of the news. I did put Harry Kane interview in the background while I was working. So I got to listen to the whole thing of that. But folks, you know what time it is. It's time for your favorite part of the show. Now you don't have to listen to my drowning voice all by itself. Although you guys, there's been quite a few of you sticking around and watching, so I appreciate that. Unless there's just a lot of people coming on and leaving because, like, oh dang, there's that Will guy again. Just want to thank again our Williams Rangers, Spartan 7 Game, Wing Bonner, Mama Coat, Celery Agent, AG, Koguma, Tony Go, Alex Burleton. Remind you guys about www.thfcrants.com where you can get all kinds of funny shirts for you to wear. YouTube memes, it's all good. And they look pretty classy too. And all that good stuff. Boom. We've switched over. And let's bring some folks in. Before we do that, gotta remind you guys to do the do there. Just need a little subscribe, like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. We're trying to make the push to 1,000. The push to 1,000. We're almost there. You guys have been great. Dang near 700 subscribers in 2 months is absolutely phenomenal. You guys are the reason that we do this. Couldn't do this without you. At least it wouldn't be any fun without you. That's for sure. I mean, I could sit here in front of the camera and talk to myself for an hour, but it wouldn't be near as entertaining without you guys here to keep us company. And where's the thing I'm looking for? That's what I'm trying to stall here. There it is. There it is. Well, let's bring in Cody Mack. He can keep you company while I'm looking for the... This is what the conversation would look like in real life, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm only like 5'8", 5'9", Like,
Yeah, I'm 6'5", so this is what the conversation would look like in real life.
but I got the beard though. I got the Nuno factor.
Yeah, yours is bigger than Nuno's though.
Oh
Yours
yeah, what if I
bigger and
do?
wider.
Can I switch myself over to you? There we go. Now, who's the big man now? Who's the big man now? Big tree fall hard. You know what? It's about center of gravity. I got the lower center of gravity for the takedown.
I guess maybe.
Big tree.
But-
the bigger they are, the harder they fall, man.
Yeah, that rumor doesn't really work. But
So, you know Arthur Everett.
yeah, I know Arthur.
Can we talk about him for 2 seconds?
Sure.
Okay, so for people who don't know, there's this older gentleman, Arthur Everett, who he's a member of Matty Hayes' channel. He's a member of the Irish Hotspur, and he'll go on there and he'll chat shit about Tottenham Hotspur. It's great. Got lots of old stories. He's been a Spurs supporter for 65 years. Like, he can literally remember the days of Bill Nick and the double winning side of 60-61. He did one of those tell me your Spurs story episodes with David, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but he tells a story where him and his chums used to steal horse shit, like literal horse manure, and sell it to people door to door to get money to spend on French fries, on chips, and they would sneak into White Hart Lane and buy French fries and watch the game when they were kids. It's just so awesome. But anyways, he's been talking about starting his own channel for ages. And every time he mentions it with David, he's saying, you got to do it, Arthur. You got to do it. So anyways, yesterday he finally did it. He started his own channel and he uploaded a video after the Villa game. And it's 10 minutes long. And right at the end, he pleads with Daniel Levy, and he's losing it. He's crying. You know, he's literally crying. And it'll just break your heart. So anyways, I watched that. And he was on 16 subscribers yesterday. So a bunch of us that are in a group chat on Twitter, we tweeted it out, tweeted the video out and everything. And so many people went and watched the video and gave him like nice comments. And he's all the way up to 196 subscribers in 24 hours, like basically 24 hours. It's unbelievable. And all I can think of is like, that old bastard's going to make it to 1,000 subs before we do now.
Yeah.
But seriously, in like a long stretch of nothing but shit things going on with being a Spurs supporter, I thought that was a nice story, a nice touching story. But if you haven't, go check out Arthur. He's his channel's called Ask Arthur, and yeah, he's just a sweet old man.
He's a sweet man. He's a very kind man, and definitely check him out. Definitely check him out. Give him a looky look, a looky do, a looky see. But Jason Green, welcome to the channel, my friend. We are safe and well for the most part. Kane going to City, maybe get Kane or Cancelo. Improve the defense, plus use the money to get a striker. Yeah, no. I think there's a lot of things that could be done. There's a lot of possibility in it. But it's just a matter of whether it gets done or not. But we do have Mr. K in the house. What's going on, Mr. K?
Hi guys, can you hear me clearly? I'm not using a headset this time.
We can hear you clearly.
Excellent, thank you. Good evening to you guys, or good afternoon to anyone that's listening from the other side. I missed parts of your show. I saw the beginning, and then I kind of drifted away. There was a podcast being done by the Transfer Show, which I was looking into. I like Duncan Castles. I like his insights into transfers. But yeah, the rumor is
Are
that
you sweeping the floor?
Sorry?
Are you sweeping the floor?
Not anymore, no.
Okay. That's like it here. So it's like so it's sweeping the floor in the background or something like that.
I think that's when my head moves. No,
Oh,
it could
okay.
be. I hope it's not the rain because it's raining cats and dogs over here.
It might be. Maybe that's why everybody's hanging in the house.
So,
This is Todd
what's
and
the main
Todd.
theme?
Come on, you Spurs. What?
What's the main theme right now? What have I walked into?
What have you walked into?
No, so
Because
Conversation.
I missed the last half an hour.
Just asking questions to the audience, and we're just now right here. We're in the you know, the
Come on, Tottenham till we die. Come on, you Spurs.
creators corner section, right, where we invite fellow creators to join the show and just have a chat. So,
well, here's an interesting chat. I haven't really been excited about any type of transfers or managers or anything like that since it initially came up. I haven't had any type of optimism in my heart whatsoever since January. And I just heard some news today, which I think to myself is actually kind of like, it's interesting. There's a young talent in Portugal, in Spanish football called Felix, young lad. And apparently the word is that he's really, really not happy at the club he's at. Like, seriously not happy.
does he play in? I mean, how many Felixes are there? There's like a bunch of Felix. You have Felix Yao. You have Felix. Like, is he playing Atletico Madrid? Is that Felix Yao? Is that you're saying
That's
he's
the
not
one.
happy?
Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's playing for Atletico Madrid. Now, the thing is,
But they paid like 100 million pounds for 100 million euros for him, dude. He was
I know, but
world record signing.
sometimes you get flops and sometimes you get Levy. Right? So 100 million might turn into 50 million plus a few add-ons.
What is he not happy about over there? They're about to win La Liga.
Because he's not playing.
No,
They've been sitting
the
him?
way he's getting trained, and it's the way that he's getting played. This boy has been carrying an injury for the last 4 months, an ankle injury, right? And no, actually, I think longer than that. I think he sustained it at the beginning of the season. And he's had this ankle injury, but the manager just keeps saying to him, like, don't be a wimp, get up there, do this, do that. And that ankle injury is now turning into something like next level. So he's having to take like injections and things like that just to get on the pitch. So the poor lad, right, he's had enough. He's thinking that this hard man treatment is not working for him. And we know a particular chairman that loves to buy talent that's got injuriness associated with it. And especially when Atletico Madrid might need some money, COVID times, and £100 million player becomes a £50 million player.
Who did Levy buy that was injury prone when they came here, though?
I think Bale was like injured straight away. Lo Celso was injured like within 3 months of actually arriving at the club.
Yeah, but that's after. I mean, you're making it seem like Levy likes to buy players who have injury history and proneness. Lo Celso never really had a major injury, So I'm just trying to clarify.
Well, no, I'm talking about the flair players that we have brought into the squad. At some stage or another, they always end up getting themselves in an injury which lasts for a little while, and then they come back and they have little niggling injuries afterwards.
Before we continue on. We got Eugene in the house.
Eugene.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
See you as well, man.
Yeah, thanks, Will, for the idea. So I'll push on it.
Well, good day.
On this side of the world, and see what we can do.
Yeah, for sure, 100,000%. But how are you doing today, Mr. Eugene? What do you like to go by? Do you like to go by the last Lockman, or do you like Eugene, or what do you go by?
Anyway, Eugene is actually my Chinese name.
Yeah.
Translated into English phonetic. Yeah. Lokman is my Muslim name, so I'm okay. I'm cool with it.
Cool with either one.
Anyway. Either one.
I just picked the Eugene one because it's easy for me to go with that one.
So today the statement from Kane. I mean, not the statement. It was actually him playing golf with Neville. Yeah, and I think Cody was very jealous. Yeah, right. They get to play golf. Cody's like going, shit, man.
Kane is a solid player, man.
Yeah.
Did you watch the video yet, Will?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. Oh, Will hasn't watched it.
The golf? I haven't watched it. I listened to it in the background, but I didn't watch the video.
they play like 5 holes, and
He's a 2.
He's a 2 handicap, yeah. And I don't know what decks they're playing from. They don't really give you that, but they put like the tracer on their shots and everything. They actually did a nice job of it. I think that's going to be an interesting channel there with Gary Neville. But like Kane hit it to like 20 feet on a par 5 and 2. He had like a 20-foot eagle putt. It was impressive, and they had like the bants going back and forth. You know, Neville was just cursing the whole time because Kane is just so much better than him. But yeah, look. As far as like,
well, I mean, when you're a mid-80s golfer playing against somebody who's a
but he was giving him a stroke a hole too. He was giving him a stroke a hole, which he said Neville said he was a 10 handicap, and Kane said he's.
I thought he said 12.
He said 12. Yeah, so really, if they're playing 5 holes, he should have been only getting like 3 or 4 strokes, but he gave him a stroke on every hole. But I think Neville was maybe reverse sandbagging a little bit.
Well, I, from what it looked like, it didn't look like he was a 12 either. It looked like he was the mid-90s.
He said he hasn't played in a while. He said he hasn't played much, so I can sympathize with that.
Am I right in saying the interview was done before the game?
Before the Villa game, yeah, because didn't we get a clip of it? Didn't we get a clip before the Villa game?
I haven't watched it yet because I didn't want to get triggered today. I thought, let me relax a bit, do something else for a while.
My guess is it happened before the Wolves game.
Yeah.
So far,
it's interesting as content creators, you look at it and you think to yourself, they had a choice of pundits to stick with him. You know, there are other footballer pundits as well that they have. But they chose Neville, you know, Man United. And Neville seemed to be quite in awe of Kane. Kane's attitude and demeanor, while Neville was around, seemed to be quite cozy. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, you know, like as an interviewer, I think
Neville's looking at him like he's got love eyes and he's just looking at Kane.
No, he keeps asking Kane, what about MU? What about MU? And Kane keeps deflecting the issue, remember?
I think.
I don't think he wants to go to United. I think you're right. He wants to go to City. Is where he wants to go.
No, but I'm afraid Roman will come in with something like 200 million and grab him away. That's why.
No, they won't do 200 million. They don't have that kind of money, though. What they'll do is they'll do players plus, 60.
100.
Not even 100. They won't go 100.
Oh, but Kane valued himself at 100.
It's in there. Yeah, it's conditioned, Priyansh. Okay, I use product, homemade.
Homemade. That sounds gross.
Yeah. Little beeswax, a little coconut oil, a little essential oil, some lavender in there. You know, the wife can hate the beard, but at least it can smell nice for a day or two before it starts to smell like old cheese again. You know.
Anyway, I'm going to turn this over to you guys for a second. I have to go do something really quickly that I forgot. And it's
you lock the kids out again, eh?
No, that's not it. But
he's done it before.
I bet he's got something.
The doors are locked, but
he's got something cooking. You can smell it. It's too far. It's too gone. Hurry, run!
I'll be right back.
I told you, cooking something. He's forgotten.
So Eugene, you've seen the whole interview, right? So what were your general thoughts on what Kane had to say to Gary Neville?
Deep down, I think Kane has already approached Levy, right? And I think maybe Levy has already told Kane who he wants to get, and maybe that's when Kane has stood up and say, if you're going to get that guy, I'm going to go. And maybe now, hopefully, maybe Kane can force Levy to do something worthwhile for the club, which we all hope he does, But I think he will stay one more season. The way it goes, he's not like forcing it like really adamantly, but
look at his age.
Unless but unless like somebody really comes in like a big amount where Levy can't turn away.
Yeah, but Levy's big amount is like 150 to 200 million, right? Yeah. Everyone else is between 100 to 150 million. So there's a 50 million pound evaluation difference between Levy's brain and everyone else in the world. And
Levy wants 300 if we can get it.
Even though he used the word like COVID and excuses and COVID and downturn in the market, when it comes to bargaining, the guy will not even allow that to get onto the table.
Yeah. Okay. Before you go on, I'm going to try and bring someone in here just like Will. Okay.
Good luck. Great.
I don't know where he gets the music from. But welcome.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Maz.
How's
How's it going?
Mario. There, I've outed you as
Mario.
your real name. Everybody knows
I
your
haven't
name
seen
now.
his. Haven't.
Yeah, that's
Marius,
fine. Yes.
it's an absolute pleasure to see you at the same time, man. It's good that you're up in the panel, mate.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Okay, so while you're fresh and your mind is sharp, let us know what you thought. Did you watch the Harry Kane documentary / interview?
Yeah, I think that he gave us quite a lot of information. It's almost like he was speaking to, an inquisitive fan, but also trying to, on the one hand, balance his own, well-being and a club that he loves, but also send a message to Daniel Levy that Kane has got to make a decision as to where his future lies. I'm not convinced that he's actually made a decision of what he wants to do. To me, he looks like a person that's gone through an incredibly tough transition period where we've clearly not been performing very well. And he's come to the realization, and then the realization that he's probably not very happy with, that Tottenham are just not at a level that he's at. He's reached new heights within his career, and rather than Tottenham progressing with him, we've stagnated. And what was good is that he also took some responsibility as well for that. So he clearly said that there was opportunities for him to have won things with Tottenham, and you could say that, I know we're all pretty angry with the board and Levy, but at the same time, we've had opportunities to win and we just haven't grasped it. So he looks like a man that's very, very torn between his love for Tottenham, his own career, and potentially what his family want him to do, because all his family are Tottenham supporters.
Yeah, I think on one side of the scale, it was, at the very least, it was a warning shot, and on the other side of the scale, it was an outright message that he wants to leave. So it's difficult to interpret, but I didn't really. There's lots of people online who are absolutely just roasting him for this interview, and I think that players should be free to speak out more about stuff like this, especially players of Harry Kane's status. Like, it would be one thing if you were Harry Winks coming out here and doing all the chirping, but Kane walks the walk and he talks the talk. So I have no problem with him putting forth however you want to interpret it. There was definite criticism built into his comments, and none of it was undeserved. So I don't know why people are freaking out. Like, how is he supposed to not be critical of the state of this club right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we all forget is that Harry Kane is a Tottenham fan. His whole family is Tottenham. I mean, I heard that his brother potentially is an Arsenal fan, but for all intents and purposes, he's a Tottenham fan. So I think someone who's been at the club, I think he said 16 years, for him, he must be hurting, right? Because he's, like he said, he's had opportunities to help Tottenham win things, and for whatever reason they haven't. And ultimately, he's a human being as well. So I'm sure he's gone through the same analysis or thought processes that we have, maybe even more so because he's within that environment. And I can't see how some of our fans can be angry at him. I mean, putting aside what a great player he is, he never said anything that Cody or Mr. K or Eugene or Will wouldn't have said. I think he pretty much summed it up as how any person with his ability and his ambition would state things. Especially at this stage of his career. I think what was telling, though, is that he did say that he's got another 7-8 years left in him and he's not in a rush to make a decision. So that, to me, says that he hasn't made a decision and that he's pending his conversation with Levy. And we know what Levy's like in negotiations. So I guess he's got to have his A game when he speaks to him, and I guess his representatives will be there as well.
Maz, I can understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But that documentary was done before the Aston Villa game. And
Yeah,
the thing
but
is
one
that
game,
he's saying
no,
that
no,
he's
no.
thinking,
But one
I
game
understand.
won't determine his view, though.
No, he
Mr.
won't.
Kane,
No, he won't.
right?
No, I know. I'm not suggesting that. Let me
Yeah.
explain. What I'm saying is, when you saw the video, when you saw the documentary of him, right, you're seeing his mind as it was then. Things and events will start to occur that will start to influence him one way or the other. And he has to have that final meeting with Levy in the first place, so that he gives Levy the chance to say, okay, what have you got that you can put on the table? Because if you've got something, fine, because I haven't ruled you out completely. But at the same time, the reveal from Sky and the documentary, one after the next, it looks like a power play from Manchester United and Sky to push this agenda. That's what I think.
Oh,
I think
there's no doubt. I mean, it's pretty well documented or evident that Sky Sports and the media do not like Tottenham Hotspur, and it's obvious. So whatever they do. I mean, I don't think Daniel Levy. I mean, to his credit, I don't think he's cowed by Sky Sports or what Man United want. I mean, he's always, fought for Tottenham in that respect. But Harry Kane has not made this decision now. I mean, it's clear that when Pochettino left, that we were at a crossroads, and to appease almost Son and Kane, Levy brought in Mourinho, and I'm sure when Kane spoke to Mourinho, and Mourinho said, "I'm going to win you cups and trophies, etc., etc." Now, he also said in that interview that Mourinho's ambition and his ambition are effectively aligned. They want to win at all costs. Now, Tottenham haven't tried to win at all costs, really, and the cost, but he may be referring to, in a sense, in terms of ambition, is investment in players, because he then said, I don't know if it was before that, pre or post, but he did say that a couple of players can change a team, and that, to me, that insinuates that he's clearly an intelligent lad, and that he knows that there's lack of quality in that squad, and that there's a big lack of investment, hence the need to have a conversation with Daniel Levy. Now, he's going to go into that room, and Daniel, if I was Daniel, if I put myself in his shoes, I'll say to him, what do you want from Tottenham? Because ultimately we've got you to finals and you haven't scored. You haven't won it for us. So what more do you want from me? That's what I would say if I was Daniel Levy to Harry Kane. Harry Kane will then turn around and say, yeah, but hold on a minute. I'm your best striker, etc., etc. I want to win trophies, but you haven't invested, and that, I think that's the type of conversation they're going to have, and I don't think that type of conversation will end well, because Daniel Levy will obviously dig in, and effectively force Kane to make a decision, or Daniel Levy will promise the world to him and say that he's going to buy XYZ player.
But don't you think that the news have been basically like it seems like a proxy war? Because when Levy came out the other day and put in a notice saying, "Hey, I've put 250 million pounds into transfers and players. Obviously, I haven't done it the right way." That seems like, to me, after watching this Kane interview, it seems like a message to Kane as well, saying, "Listen, you know what? I'm not exactly like being shy with the money. I've just maybe not done it the right way." And it's not just a fan base that these two guys are like broadcasting to. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, it's clearly the backroom staff is not doesn't match Harry Kane's ambition, right? Because if they match Harry Kane's ambition, then we would have bought Fernandes and all these other players that we in the Skriniar and all these other players that we linked with, and like I said, to me, Kane came across actually as quite an intelligent young man, in terms of he knows what the fans think, because he is a fan himself and his family are fans, and I'm sure that his mates talk to him about the current situation as well. How can't they? I mean, we're in the news every day, almost, not for the right reasons at the moment. And I think it was clearly evident that by him saying a couple of good signings can change a team, he's saying that we haven't effectively brought in the right players to do that. Hence, we've had a really tough season. I think that's pretty obvious to him and to everyone else.
Look, listen to this list, just in terms of like signings, because that statement that Levy came out with just frustrated me to no end. You know, just a bunch of patting himself on the back for all the good things that he's doing. Tottenham's last 5 record signings in pounds: Ndombele 56 million, Sanchez 42 million, Sissoko 31.5 million, Lamela 26 million, and Soldado 26 million. All those were the last 5 players who broke our record signing. So, like, for me, the idea that we are going to put 150 million pounds into the coffers for these Hitchen and Levy to spend is absolutely terrifying. It seems like the more we spend on a player, the worse the team gets, you know? So we need to get football people making football decisions, because these guys are clearly not competent.
But we were in the system before, though. When Bale left, right? Yeah. Basically, we were buying all these players at that time, you know, and there was a frenzy of buying them because they were trying to get it done before the transfer date, and Bale hadn't even signed the contract with Real Madrid, and they were like up to 105 million pound worth of players at that time. That was a lot of money back then, you know. So the way I look at it is that if Kane goes, right, yeah, then Levy's going to have to do something frantic because he's going to have demonstrations this year.
So I think, unfortunately for Daniel Levy, though, he's got a history of making frantic or rash decisions. You know, Martin Jol wasn't his first choice manager when Jacques Santini left. Harry Redknapp was a manager that he brought in to effectively save us from potential ruin that season. I think Pochettino was his attempt to almost start a project, right? And you could argue that was a good appointment. You know, Pochettino was a well-regarded manager in the Premier League. You know, he done quite well with Southampton, all things considered. But that doesn't just extend to his managerial appointments. It also extends to his recruitment, not just on the pitch, but in his backroom staff. I mean, he brought in, I remember back in the day when he brought in Frank Arneson, and Frank Arneson was meant to come in, identify the hot talent around Europe, build the training academy, etc., etc. And Arneson, as a football director, left after a short while. He went to Chelsea and he helped them build up their academy, and they hoovered up all the talent around Europe. And to replace Frank Arneson, I think that you got in Damien Comolli. Now, Damien Comolli actually done a half decent job for us in terms of attracting a few, you know, good key players that Martin Jol used. But again, Comolli, for whatever reason, left, and is it Baldini? I think Cody, is it Baldini who came in after him?
Stop making fun of me. Call me Baldini.
Yeah, Will's brother came in, and he
Take it easy.
He was a disaster, wasn't he, Baldini? So that reflects as well into his recruitment. Now we also, in some respects, we can't blame Levy entirely, because he did sanction the signing of Bale and Van der Vaart and Modric and, you know, all these players that we've had in the past. But he's got a lot more wrong than what he's got right, unfortunately. And he certainly didn't help Pochettino take the team to the next level when it was absolutely needed. And he felt, and in a certain extent, he failed Mourinho. Despite how bad we were playing on the pitch, it was clear that Mourinho probably wanted defenders, and he never got defenders again for the second time around. And he didn't fancy, you know, certain players in the team. And as the season wore on, he just done what Mourinho does best, is piss people off until he gets sacked. And I haven't. I'm with Cody on this. I haven't got the confidence that if you give the next manager 150 million, that anything will change, because his record is pretty poor.
I don't think
shit out of
Levy-
Haven't you noticed that Levy buys the players, not the manager? That's the problem.
Yeah, so
see?
that's clearly. I mean,
Ah.
so I've worked for incredibly big companies in my life, and worked with quite a few CEOs, and there's various different styles of management, and Levy is certainly someone who likes to control everything around him to a certain degree.
100
And
degrees.
he clearly, yeah, I'm being nice here, but he clearly doesn't, he shouldn't really be too involved with what happens, in on the for buying players. Maybe negotiating, but again, we've got clear examples where, instead of spending that extra 5 million, he hasn't, and it's ultimately it's cost him more money in the long run. So he's done quite a lot of bad business in that respect.
So let me ask you guys this, okay? Because if you look at the last two Premier League seasons, both champion sides.
Do we have to?
Yep. No, I'm just let me finish here.
Been really bad.
The last two seasons, all right, Man City this year and Liverpool last year, both those sides, and I'm not going to say that they were poor sides before, but both those sides were relatively transformed by the introduction of a top-tier center back, right? So last year we had our targets, our rumored targets, Skriniar, Diaz. They one stayed at Inter and the other went to City. Who is this year's version of that top center back? Because I haven't seen a name thrown around, a name bandied about in the 50 to 60 million pound range that's being touted as like the next dominant center back that we could even consider going after. Does anybody know of a top center back that we could bring in that would have the potential to maybe not give us the type of transformation that we've seen?
Who's in the list?
I don't. That's what I mean. I don't know who it is. I'm asking who.
No.
Like
The valuation. I mean, the valuation of who's the list for the top, 50 to 60 million pounds to 70 million pounds centre back. Are you talking like somebody like Upamancho or one of the younger stars coming up, or is it one of the older guys? Right? Maybe we get Sergio Ramos, and Zidane is
not
coming.
Sergio Ramos,
and Zidane is coming.
and Bale is leaving.
Yeah, and Bale is leaving, and Reggie too.
Yeah,
maybe Reggie will leave. Yeah. So, but who is in that category now? After when we went after Skriniar, which allegedly we did, and somehow or another we didn't, or maybe it's just one of Levy's smoke screen again to hype out the fans. And actually, he had planned to buy somebody much cheaper, right? But now, who is the targets that we can? Let's say if Kane stays, okay? Maybe Kane says that I want this level of a centre back. I want maybe 240 million centre backs. You get rid of another whoever is who we are talking about. Get rid of them, right? And Levy gets them. But who are these centre backs now? Is it Botman? Is it who else have we got in the top leagues? Right? There's Jerome Boateng, but he's on a free.
Yeah, but he's not
from Bayern. Yeah,
he's not going to transform anything.
Yeah, but is he going to transform anything? Right? But what steps? My question actually now, because is what steps will Levy take to keep Kane?
Eugene, we missed the boat in the beginning of last season. There was plenty of people out there that were like, for example, Eric Garcia, right? Yeah, was actually like finishing his last year of his contract. If we wanted to put the money down and said, listen, don't go to Juve, come to us. We could have done that. Jose was there, but the problem is Levy. That's
Levy,
right? So he's going to buy a defender, right? Yeah, that's going to cost him between 5 to 15 million, right? Yeah. In other words, he's £5 million when he went to the other club, and then he becomes £15 million when we go to buy him because we're going to bring him to the Premier League, and he sticks on a couple of add-ons. So you're really looking at those type of players right? So they're up and coming. They're not at the 50, 60 million pounds bracket
I
because
mean, you're looking at Anderson, that time, Joachim Anderson, that level.
I mean, he won't spend the money. We know this for a fact. He's had chances and chances to spend the money. He hasn't done it. So to me, right, yeah, I think the same old dance, unless he brings Shrinier in, right, yeah, and like makes everyone happy because he can get him for like 20 million pounds cheaper, then fine, he'll do it. You understand? He picks him up for like 30. Yeah, he'll take him. 35 to 37, he'll take him. Right? I reckon he'll push for 30 though, but that's him.
Yeah, I think we focus. It's hard when it's Daniel Levy, but I do think we focus a lot on the value of the player as opposed to whether it's the player that the manager in charge actually wants. That's the mistake that us as fans do a lot, and you know the media. One, you know, if we're going to bring in a manager, whether it's Pochettino, Mourinho, Martin, Joel, Redknapp, get the players that they want to bring in rather than Daniel Levy looking at, you know, a YouTube video or a website or something like that, or you know, listening to Sky Sports and bringing them in. It's clear that we don't give the right tools to the you know the coaches and the managers to be able to execute what they've been brought in to do. We just, you know, it's like going into a new job, right, and not being even given your laptop or your computer to work on, and it's being expected to, you know, conduct business. It's just not going to happen, is it?
Let me ask you this: how different do you feel things would be right now if let me put this scenario forward? Okay, so let's say we had not sacked Jose, and we basically had the same league results. So we'd be in the same place on the table, staring down no Europa. We would have lost the cup final. You know, we would have looked good against the bottom five sides and pedestrian against basically everybody else. Do you think that the situation with Harry Kane would be as inflamed as it is right now, or would the fact that we had kept Jose and we'd be on the cusp of like a transfer window where maybe we could be talking about backing Jose, right?
Yeah. See, Cody, that's precisely the conversation that I've been having within my family and my brothers when we talk to each other about football, is that I personally feel that for all of Jose Mourinho's faults, keeping him there almost would have been. He's got the experience and the kudos worldwide to be able to keep players there. I think it was clear to me that Son and Kane, Lloris, and Højbjerg, for example, clearly backed Mourinho, and they've all been effectively, those 4 or 5 players have been our best players this season in general. Now, yes, Mourinho's performances on the pitch haven't been great, and it was all going very wrong. But I'm surprised that Levy didn't double down on it and say, right, I've brought this guy in, I'll give him another season. As bad as everything was, because at least Mourinho can attract big players. If Mourinho calls it,
and that's what's so frustrating right now, is because, like, how can we buy players when we don't have our next manager already?
Yeah,
like, we've been managerless.
We should
for 5 weeks now.
That's true.
To answer your question, I think it was arrogance, because if you look at the sequence of events, what occurred on Friday, right? Yeah, they spoke to UEFA and they said, yeah, we agreed to the Champions League being extended in 2024. So, no, then on Sunday, they then agreed to the Super League, and they announced that to us. And then on the Monday, they then sacked Jose. Now, the idea being is, well, if we're going to go into a Super League, right, yeah, then we're going to get all this money. And we can blame everything on Jose. We can let him go. And we'll just ride out the last few days and see if we can get in top 5, you know, see if we can hit it. And, you know, for me, I think it was arrogance on the part of Levy, right, yeah, when he let Jose go. Because
I don't think
this is what I'm talking about, you know, like, how can you just, because, like,
in his mind,
of all the fucking summers, of all the summers to be sitting here completely rudderless with all of these problems, there's so much that needs to be solved in such a short period of time before Euros start. You know what I mean?
Cody, what was his frame of mind when he made the decision to sack Jose? His frame of mind. What did he know at the time? What he knew at the time was he was in the money.
No, I see. I don't think so. I
There was no
think that
backlash. The backlash didn't occur until the following day.
I don't think the reason for me and I've given this a hell of a lot of thought, but I think that it wasn't because of the money or anything like that. What I believe happened was that ESL news came out. Jose Mourinho reacted bad to it because he has a moral compass. He knows what he likes, what he doesn't like, right? And he probably said to Levy, "Hold on a minute, how come you didn't speak to me about this or tell me about this?" Right? And a few choice words between them were said, and one of the quotes that I saw come out was Mourinho said to Levy, "Well, you've got a great business but a very poor football club." And a statement like that is enough to get someone sacked, certainly for Daniel Levy, who owns the club, right? So I don't think it was sacking him to deflect blame or anything like that. I think they must have had a big row. Mourinho refused to coach the players that day, and he Levy was forced to sack him effectively, because it just doesn't make sense to say, okay, I'm going to save 10 million quid at this moment in time.
You know what's scary? You know what's really scary about the prospect?
Listen, that's a lie that's been told to the media. I'm sorry, but that's a lie that's been told to the media. It's a misquotation, right? Yeah, of what the truth is. It's the same thing, but you're looking at it from a different angle. You're looking from Levy's angle, right? Yeah, they refused to train the players. What he refused to do was change his squad according to the game that was coming up.
Okay, sure. But I think Mr. K, I think that's a bit relevant. For whatever the reason was that caused them to argue was enough for him to get him sacked, right?
I know what I'm saying. It's the same thing. Levy said to him, "I want you to play these players to win Southampton game. I don't care about the cup one." And Jose's saying, "Listen, I want to win that freaking cup. I don't care about this game."
And it goes to what Kane was saying. Jose and Kane wants to win at all costs, right?
Would Winks have played in the final? Not under Jose. No, he wouldn't have. So that was clearly a choice that Levy had made, right? So he was going against him. Maybe the Super League was in Jose's brain, and he's thinking, "What the hell's going on here? If you want me to be the manager next season."
I think Kane was saying that they were preparing for the cup all the while. You see, so maybe there's a clash of interest there. Levy was pushing for top four, but Jose is going for the cup.
Yeah, you see, Cody's point is spot on. You would want someone like Jose, especially in this time, to almost take the flak and take the questions, the hard questions. But as abrasive as he is, he can take it. I mean, he was look at how he dealt, when he was at Real Madrid, in the Chelsea stints and the Man United stints, he can take flak.
That's my point. That's my point. Is that if Jose was still here, we wouldn't be talking about Harry Kane leaving. Not in my opinion, but
and look, and we can
really
think. Hold on. I think we need to thank those players who pushed for Jose to leave, and say thank you for causing Harry to go.
To leave.
Said it for months.
Thank you, Winks.
As the storm cloud was building over Jose's head, and I'm not necessarily saying that Jose was the man to lead us to the promised land. But anyone who wanted Jose out, they should have been taking this into consideration, because Kane was that last man standing at the end of the day. But you know what really scares me now that I'm thinking about it is if we sell Harry Kane, that's an English homegrown player that we're losing. And that means that every other English homegrown player in our squad then becomes more, I'm not going to say valuable, but we're less likely to be moved on. So you're looking at the Dele Allis and the Harry Winks. You know what I mean? It's just
we were top of the league until end of November, right? Early December, correct?
In December.
Yeah. So when when Mourinho got the news that he's not going to get any money in the January transfer market, I think he lost it there, because he already saw the troubles we had. Right, and he was hoping that maybe the January market will help him solve the problems, but maybe he did go to Levy, and Levy just turned around and said, "We don't have money." That's why, before the transfer market opened in December, at the time, Mourinho was already saying, "I'm not buying anybody. We don't have the money." Right, and if we really wanted to move forward during the time, I'm sure Jose Mourinho has already identified where our problems were. and what he needed to bring in. But if he doesn't get a budget, right, I think he lost his. Maybe he lost his way at that period of time.
No, you're right. I mean, look, we're not. I don't think any of us are really Jose in people.
Yeah.
But you got to admire Jose for him standing up to his principles. If if what you said is true, then I would rather have Jose at the moment than be in the situation we're in. Purely because, not because obviously I hate the football and the results that we were getting, but at least there's an inkling of hope that he could potentially persuade a couple of world-class players to join Tottenham because he's there.
For me, what it is look, I was never pro Jose. Until the documentary, I didn't really like Jose at all. I thought he was going to end up turning our club into the drama show that he did at United. But I think that was a bit of an unfair criticism, and I think that because he had that reputation, not only the media but a lot of the other players at the club took advantage of that. Right, started using that narrative because if that narrative didn't already exist. Right, from Man United, Jose wouldn't have been sacked as quick as he was here.
Yeah, agreed, Bill. Yeah, totally.
Because those players used that narrative to leak things to the press, to drive, and the press used it to push him, to push fan base, going sour. Because to be honest with you, I didn't necessarily have a problem with the way that he managed the players. Like, I'm so sick of the Deadwood just being out there, running the club. Basically, it's almost like it's like a daycare where the director's left, and all that's there now is that 22-year-old teacher, and the kids are just running, ramping on her, climbing on her back, and other ones are pulling, climbing up the drapes and the curtains and on the windows, and what I mean? That's what it seems like right now at the club.
But what baffles me is, why would a chairman bring in someone like Jose Mourinho and then not back him at the key junctures of his tenure? It doesn't make any sense. I mean,
I think he intended to back him. I mean, the summer transfer window wasn't horrible. I mean, a lot of people were saying it was a 8 out of 10, right? So I mean,
I don't mean by transfers. What I mean is that Jose had the backing of the key members of the squad that we all want to stay. I mean, I've seen various lists going around. I think Cody does it at the end of his show, where in or out type questions, right? And he had the backing of Kane, he had the backing of Son, he had the backing of Lloris and Højbjerg, right? And I guess anyone outside of that, even Reguilon, doesn't really matter. He had the key people there for him to clear out all the dead wood, right, and bring in new faces. Whether or not they're 20, 30, 40, 50 million pound players is inconsequential. The point is, he had these core players there that he could build around, but he never allowed Mourinho to figure out who the men are and who the weak boys are. He just effectively let Jose get on with it, didn't back him, accordingly, and everything just festered, right? And if I was Levy, I would have gone into that changing room with all the players in there and said, right, he's going to be our manager for the next 3 years, right? I'm going to back him. I don't care who moans or whinges. So you better either buck up your ideas or you're going out. That's what I would.
Maybe Levy did go into the dressing room, said he's going to be the manager for the next 3 years, and he's in charge. Wink, wink.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's almost what needs to happen, right? I mean,
well, I got to address this comment first before I let you go through. Scott, that's not the case, right? All of the deadwood is Winks, Sissoko, Dele, Davies,
This should have been a long time ago.
Dyer, all the players Jose refused to play.
Well, he didn't really refuse Dyer for a long time.
But no, look, at least Jose, when a player's playing bad, regardless of what his personal feelings are, because apparently Jose loved Eric Dyer, right? Both, came from Portugal, stuff like that. But when Dyer played badly, what did he do? What did he do?
He waited a long time, and then he finally benched him.
How did he wait a long time?
7
First
games.
half of the season when he was playing really, really well.
Yeah, but he probably
He
played.
never went more than 2 weeks in a row.
He probably played like 6 weeks longer than he should have, in my opinion. But then when he was benched, he was out for a while. You know, he didn't put really. I don't think he stepped on the pitch for a Premier League match for 6 weeks.
I think,
And didn't bring him back in until he had to, because Sanchez was even worse.
but I think Mourinho didn't have much confidence.
To say,
in the
but to
squad,
say
that's
that
why.
Jose likes the Deadwood is an absolute.
No,
That's
that's
absolute
not true.
nonsense. That argument.
and he didn't bring in more Deadwood.
Listen, Jose in an interview turned around and stated, right, to the reporters, he said, "Listen, I don't understand where you have this in your mind that you have to have 2 fixed defenders in the middle of the pitch." He goes, "I rotate mine." He goes, "You can see from the evidence I've done that." Right. And so basically the point that he made was that everyone's been going on about, well, the center pairing, you know, you have a relationship with the goalkeeper. This, you know, they're week in, week out. That's a traditional model. Now his model was different. So I think that's a slight misconception is if your model is different, then if you want to call it out for something, you have to try to understand what the model is first.
Yeah, but look, I mean, you know, he's gone now, so it's really kind of a moot point. But I would have rather had toxic Jose for the last till the season ended than Ryan Mason. I'm sorry.
True.
Yeah, I understand the point. Look, he's gone, but the thing is, our defense is still there. So the point is this, right? Yeah, you can either structure a 3-man defensive unit, right? Yeah, right, and you build them, or alternatively, you go for the central traditional 2-man pairing, right? It depends how you want to play the game, right? In what
I tell
formation?
you, they can play five center backs behind, and it wouldn't make a difference. The way they perform anyway.
The 3 centre back situation is a classic attack formation.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically having 3 good centre backs, right? Yeah, is a good idea. You really want to have that in your team. Davis fulfilled that role, right? Yeah, being a left back, but being tall enough to be a central defender, right? And he did that. You know, that's the reasons why he was chosen over Danny Rose.
I don't think he was tall enough to be a center defender. I think it was because he was just more defensive, right? Like
Yeah, he was. But
if you watch
I mean,
Davies, anytime he crosses the center line, he just automatically looks nervous.
yeah, I know, but the point was that he was trained to play centre
And he
mid.
runs back.
So the point was that he is utility based, where he could play as a back 3 and be a left-footed player. So that's very, very handy if you're going to go for a 3 at the back, i.e., when you're attacking.
Did you
Right.
see? Did you see
Start
the
off with a
Antwerp
4.
loss?
Yeah,
Because Ben Davies was playing center back and he was completely out of his depth.
I know, but I'm saying the system is there, but the players are wrong.
Conspiracy theory here, guys. Maybe Mourinho threw the Antwerp game and focused on the cup.
No,
Because maybe he calculated it down the way.
no way, Jose.
He couldn't win.
Jose
both.
wants to. I think that. I
Wants
don't
to win
think.
every
I
match.
think Jose wants to win
Way
every
off the
single.
mark.
Right. He I think he genuinely selects a team to try and do that every game. Doesn't mean he gets the decisions right, but I don't think Jose doesn't want to win a game. He expects his players, whether they're substitutes or not, to be professional and putting a shift in.
I think that there might have been players that sabotaged games in order to get their own agenda.
Yeah.
To get their way.
And that's
I
why.
definitely don't think it's Jose.
And that's why I don't understand why Levy wouldn't say, right, okay, I've got Jose, one of the most decorated manager in the world. Maybe Guardiola's got more now, but and I've got Kane's happy because Jose's there, or we think he's happy. Son's clearly happy. Lloris and Højbjerg are there. That's the spine of the team. Everyone else, if they don't like it, they can leave. But
I think Todd's got a point here. I think the sacking being timed with the ESL had a lot to do with it. I think when they went into that ESL, he kind of figured, okay, now we're going to be in this elite competition that most managers are going to want to be in. So we can sack Jose and we're not going to have a problem getting a new one in. But then that fell apart. So now we can't get a manager because we're absolute horseshit. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we go into the ESL, right, wouldn't Mourinho have the money to buy the players he want?
Yeah.
Why sack him then?
Right.
Yeah, because you don't. Because now you don't need to. Because you're in a more of elite tier, and so you can go and pick whoever you want. And
I mean, based on the CV, right? Wouldn't be Mourinho one of the top
But
selections.
this is the whole situation with Levy is that the illusion that the fan has got, right? Yeah, they are after glory. But the reality is that Levy, right? Yeah, he's not thinking in that model. He's thinking, how can I keep getting top 6, top 5, top 4, right? Yeah, that's all I really want to get. So if I go in a rebuild, right? Yeah, and everyone, all the players, all the fans out there go, yeah, man, we're going to rebuild. And we get a manager for a rebuild, and I buy like maybe 4 or 5 players in the cheap and bargain for selling one Kane. Then you know what? I could revitalize the squad, call it revitalizing, and a new chapter that this manager, this new person's coming in is going to have a 3-year, 5-year cycle, and we're going to build onto a glory. You know, the cups will be coming, and he's going to sell that malarkey. But you know, hey, I ain't got no crystal ball. Anything could happen.
Mr. Kane, and I think this is actually along the lines of what Will said in previous streams, but it's that sort of mentality saying, okay, I want to keep fourth. Like Kane said, he thinks he can score 50, 60 goals a season. He aims higher than what he currently is, right? In you know, in other sports, you always aim to be better than what you are. You always aim, rather than score 1 goal, 2 goals, you want to score 4, 5, 6 goals. So you're constantly pushing. You know, if you just want to try and keep at a level, you almost never succeed, right? You always drop off, and that's Levy's thinking in that respect is wrong. He should be thinking, I need to try and win the league. What do I need to do to make that happen? What investments do I need to make? And Mourinho's of that ilk. He wants to win everything. So he always thinks higher than what they currently are. Whereas Levy just thinks I need to maintain this somehow. And that's the wrong way of thinking, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. I just want to remind folks, if you're watching the show for the first time, we got a lot of people on watching the show today. Go ahead and hit that like button. We would prefer a subscription. You deem us worthy. Do that. And if you really, really like it, hit the bell. And all that good stuff. But yeah, look, I mean, oh, my man's Arthur's in the house. What's going up, Arthur? Everybody click on Arthur's name and go over, subscribe to his channel if you get a chance. You know, he's a great and kind man, and Arthur, you helped me to center myself, and I appreciate that. Sometimes the emotion of people, you know, of the situation we're in can cause people to be a little bit more negative than they want to be, but you've helped to return me to my former self. So thank you, Arthur, for that. It's been a big help. And
You know, I had a conversation today with my brother, and he said one thing, and it sort of triggered me. He said, "Oh, you know, we want Enoch and Levy out, but we should be careful what we wish for." And I said to him, "But hold on a minute, we've been saying that for the last 20 years." And therein lies the problem, right? Is we always play it safe, and I think it's about time that we stop playing it safe, and you know, the club put the money where the mouth is and go for it.
yeah, no, I mean, look, I just, you know, playing it safe. I don't like playing it safe, but I don't think that Jose is pragmatic. I don't think that. I think that. I don't know. I'm distracted. It's hard for me to even give a response when I don't even know
what's next.
What's next? What's going to happen tomorrow?
This is where Kane is, though, isn't it? This is
100%. I agree. Kane's in the exact same spot. And I don't blame him at all. In fact, I would question his sportsman minds, his mentality, if he wasn't questioning it. But like for me, it looks like Daniel Levy, you know, when he gives Jose the sack, and you know, gives Jose the sack, and he comes. So he's got to be thinking to himself, "What's Mason in charge? What the fuck is this guy doing?" You know what I mean? Like, what is this? What is Daniel doing?
Maybe he made a mistake gambling. Like I told you, arrogance. I mean, he basically didn't realize everything was about to fall apart. He thought he could do the Levy maneuver and keep doing the Levy maneuver.
No, I
Unfortunately,
can't do
what
that.
happened-
The day he sacked Jose was the day Kane thought to himself, "I'm leaving." I mean, you could tell from that interview. I mean, he pretty much said it. We found out 5 minutes before everyone else did.
So think about what Levy's thinking. Levy's thinking, if I got this guy for one more year, his value goes down. Right now, if I sell him right, yeah, he's still worth a certain amount to me. I need to sell him now.
Yeah, look,
This
no,
is
I mean,
you can sentimentally, right? Yeah, here's a businessman, right? Yeah, he's very shrewd, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, you try to get the maximum for what you've got. And the thing is, with Kane, right? Yeah, it's like for us, the fans, we think, that's impossible. Levy would never think that. He's a fan as well. I'm just saying to you, look.
Levy will sell him. Yeah, Levy will sell him if the price is right.
If you believe in this player and you believe that you should keep him, even though he's worth so much, and you're a fan as well, and then you would say, I want to build a squad around him. What do I need? What type of manager do I need to manage him? And what type of players do these two guys say that they need to round him? I've got all these technical people. They can tell me. They can tell me. They can tell me. If that's my plan, I can put it in a whiteboard. Bang, bang, bang. But no, this is the delusion that I've had for years and years and years, where I looked at Levy and said, you know what? It's like, as much as I don't like some of the maneuvers he does, right? Yeah.
Hold that thought.
Where the music is.
What's going on, Johnny? Johnny's
Hi,
in the
guys.
house.
Well,
Doing
welcome.
the show.
Johnny.
My own theme music. I like that. Not that it's mine, but
Cody
Hi,
couldn't
guys,
find
you
the
right?
music.
Just whatever happens to be playing when you join the show. That's what.
Yeah, good man. Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You came at the right time. Thanks. What you been up to, Johnny, man? Anything on the Twitterverse?
Yeah.
Any
new news?
looked. What's going on? I think they're arguing over whether the FA Cup should get a Champions League place at the moment. I think it should. Yeah, I think it should.
Yeah.
But the clubs will never give up the fourth spot, will they? That's the problem.
Yeah, but we're just kind of talking about the bad decisions that Daniel Levy's made over the last 2 months, and really just kind of, how we kind of see how we see Kane feeling. And I mean, to me, and that's why there's been a lot of talk about Jose recently, is because I'm under the opinion that as soon as Jose was sacked, that's when he kind of made up his mind, like, I'm gone, I'm done here, I want to leave. I don't see Daniel's vision, and like watching that interview today, it kind of seemed like, because look, I mean, he was throwing teammates under the bus, which I've never seen Harry Kane do before.
Yeah. True.
You've got to think as well. You can't have been overly impressed. That it seems to me that Daniel Levy didn't want to sell Dele Alli and Harry Winks, and those are probably two of the guys which Harry would consider to be of a weaker mentality. So he's basically got rid of a born winner in Jose to keep people like Winks and Ali happy, hasn't he? And that's not the way you want to go forward as a club, is it?
And that mentality almost runs right through Tottenham, and I think that's what Jose was almost trying to fight against, right? Trying to change. It's like, we need to think bigger than just trying to keep these players because of their name. If we want to win as a club, then it needs to be a team, and I think that's genuinely what Jose was trying to do, which is why he kept chopping and changing the players, and taking Bale off and putting him on and not playing Bale, because he's thinking, I need to build a team here. I don't care what their name is. They need to fit the system and play, and they didn't. But again, why didn't Levy think, right, this is a perfect time for me to rebuild Tottenham now I've got a strong manager who knows what he wants, and Son and Kane and Lloris and Højbjerg backing this guy. Why would you want to change that? I know that the football was toxic, and I say the football, I know that it created a toxic atmosphere, but then for big change, that is inevitable. I mean, look at Pochettino. He came in, and within the first year, it was awful. We were playing rubbish under Pochettino. At one point, we were wanting him to get sacked. I remember being in the stands and everyone was moaning and groaning at the end of, in his first season, thinking, "Oh, what is this?" But he allowed Pochettino to clear out the players he didn't want. So why wouldn't you afford that to Jose? It just doesn't make any sense.
I
think because the fans already were toxic and against Jose, so I think he just brought up a scapegoat and fed it to the fans.
I don't think so. I really don't. As much as we're in this big echo chamber, right? So as much as we think potentially that the fan base was against Jose, I'm not so sure. I think potentially there was a 50-50 split, and the fans weren't even in the stadium.
Yeah, to that, I think that I don't think the fans would have been upset if Jose finished out the season. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody was calling him for being sacked at the time that he was sacked. I don't think that I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who would say sacking Jose when they did was a good idea, right? Like people probably wanted him. They wanted him out in the summertime. Like even like people like Marcelo, who had gone pretty hard.
I can take
Jose
that challenge.
out.
I can take that challenge.
But are we that impatient?
No, he basically wanted to get Nagelsmann. He made a mistake. He made a miscalculation on his steps to get Nagelsmann. He knew on the pipeline, the Nagelsmann was going to become available, right? Yeah, and he thought, right, if I've got the European Super League, right, I can get rid of Jose and I can bring this guy in. The fans would absolutely love it, and I can carry on with my Schmarky in the summer where I sell some people and get some other people. But like I said, it's like there's no smoke without fire. Why were we linked with him straight away?
Another miscalculation.
But was that before Nagelsmann was linked to Bayern?
He decided to go with with the German league. It was afterwards he decided. My point is this, right? Yeah, is that when you look back at news reports earlier than all that was going on, the link between Tottenham and Nagelsmann was already there. Right?
I think what really disappoints me is how there's a lot of things that disappoint me about our fan base at the moment, but is that how impatient we are, because we all knew that when Jose came in we were going to hurt for a while. We knew that we weren't going to play good football. We knew that we might get these boring 1-0 wins. We knew that the football was going to be ugly. So why couldn't we tolerate it for the length of time it took for him to rebuild that team and see what happens? Because it's not as if we've won anything in the past and we're losing something. We've never had it. So why couldn't we tolerate a year or two of this to stop, to effectively rebuild the team, stop the rut we're in, and do something, bigger than what we're currently doing with Jose Mourinho? And then if he fails, then we get rid of him. But he never even had the chance to rebuild the team. And now it may sound like I'm a Jose in guy, and I'm really not. But this is just logic, right? This is in business, you make the investment and you've got to see it through. You can't make the investment then change your mind halfway through, because you're going to lose.
You just wasted all that money, right? If you're going to invest in an idea, you have to at least give it an acceptable amount of time. Otherwise, if you pull the plug, you've just thrown away all of that time, effort, and money that you'll never get back. Right? So,
yep.
And that's why you got to be really sure on your decisions before you make them, right? So that you don't throw yourself into a situation where you have to change direction, 12 months down the road, right?
So Levy is not a good businessman then.
I've been saying that for a long time. But.
Well, Jose had weeded out the weak-minded ones, hasn't he? That's why I wanted him to stay for at least until the summer, at least to get rid of the people that weren't up to speed, who are fragile, your Dele Allis, your Winkses, your Eric Dyers. But now they've got a clean slate with a new manager, haven't they? Anyone that comes in, I was hoping Jose would stay, get rid of them all, and then start next season poorly. If the football didn't improve, then get rid of him. So at least he'd had a chance to get rid of some of that deadwood. But now we're stuck with him, I think.
Eric Dyer clock resets once more.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
That's definitely a tough situation.
By the time Eric Dyer goes, he's going to get his testimonial.
he'll outlive Ben Davis at this rate, won't he?
Yeah.
When was the last time
Do
you
the
guys?
music, Will.
Don't make me
when
do
was-
the Ben Davies testimonial.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys actually cared about like the actual football match?
When?
But the style of play, or
No, just like we haven't talked about the Leicester game yet, and like all the. I don't know if you saw the pre-match
Leicester
pump up
match?
for the Villa game,
That's the match.
but basically like they had technical difficulties and nobody could get in except Brian Daigle.
Brian, yeah.
So
yeah.
the pre-match pump up was just like Brian Daigle ripping up Daniel
I saw
Levy and
that, yeah.
Enoch.
I saw that. Oh my god.
When was the last time we actually just wanted to sit here and talk about like the football?
But is there anything that we could say that hasn't been summed up for the last?
What
year?
football? If talking
been
about the
there.
football would make me even more angry because now I have to go and slag
Yeah.
off players for 45
I would say
minutes to an hour.
the last time that I truly felt like talking about football going into a game was probably before the last North London derby.
Oh yeah.
No, I would say that they like even because I thought, look, when you've got Jose
The cup
Mourinho
final?
sitting in the dugout, when you have Jose Mourinho sitting in the dugout, right? When we started to go on to that small run again, where we had some success, because he's Jose Mourinho, you think, all right, we could go on a bit of a run here. You know what I mean? So there was a little bit more hope. You know, with Jose, it was more of a roller coaster. Where now it's just like I feel like a cardboard box laying on the interstate getting hit by trucks every 15 seconds. You know what I mean? That's, you know.
It seemed like he'd found a solution as well with Lucas Moura
Yeah.
playing as a number 10, didn't it? And
Yeah.
he just went away from that as soon as Lo Celso was fit again.
Man,
I
very-
don't think he
very
went
strange.
away with it. I think he did it in that one match because I think that there was pressure. It seemed like Jose's team selections for his last two matches didn't really seem like Jose type selections. It almost looked like he was trying to please somebody, whether it be the fan base or whether it be Daniel or whatever. Because and then for me, I think it's Daniel. Hindsight, it looks like it was Daniel Levy pressure, simply for the fact that as soon as Jose's gone, Ryan Mason's picking the complete opposite of Jose Mourinho. I mean, Lucas Moura hasn't touched the pitch since the Caribou Cup final.
You know,
But he was the best player on the pitch.
I don't
Innings
think that
missing.
we wouldn't have lost against Leeds and Aston Villa with Jose Mourinho. I think we would have maybe got a
100%.
draw. I just
100%.
can't. I mean,
yeah,
and-
but we probably
and
would have
Will,
we probably would have drawn Sheffield 1-1.
no, yeah, fair enough. But
True.
But I mean, when Will at the cup final, Will, you made a really big thing about Ryan Mason's tactical decisions and team selection and substitutions, and I must admit at the time I was thinking, no, it's a bit unfair. But you're spot on. He doesn't really have a clue as to what he's doing.
no
I mean, we
clue.
can't blame him because he's not a manager, he's not a coach. So, but what we can do is blame Daniel Levy for putting him in that position.
For all you know, the cup final team was picked by Daniel anyway.
To a
That's what I'm
certain
saying.
degree,
Substitutions.
but putting Winks in, he wasn't match sharp against Man City, one of the best teams in the world, in a cup final, which was a bit silly, wasn't it? A bit naive at best. For
Hey,
being
Winks has
polite.
been match sharp for almost 18 months. So
No.
I don't know. Let's get started.
To get him match sharp, you need to give him a run of 4 games, and he's never going to survive 4 games in the team, is he? The way he's playing
No.
these days.
What is amazing, and it shows how good Pochettino was how well he got Winks playing. Pochettino,
Or did Dembele get him playing well?
Well, yeah, equally.
Or Wanyama's glass knees.
Yeah, but it's
just in response to Scott, you have to admit that Jose had a much more suitable game plan for tackling a team like Leeds United. They didn't lay a finger on us the first time around.
No.
And I know it's not.
3-0.
You can't guarantee anything. Like the Leeds were playing much better at the time that we played them, but I don't think that it's a revisionist history.
Whoa. That's not true. And in fact, they had more injuries this time around than they did the first time around.
Yeah, but they were playing better.
Because we were playing bad. Not because they're playing better.
No,
Yes.
no, Leeds United. Okay,
No,
coming
at
into
the beginning of the
against
season,
us,
their results. No,
coming
you're
into
wrong.
the game against
First
us,
half of the season, their results were far better than the second half of the season.
they
It's
played.
true.
They played
Leeds were in
City,
the top 5, 6 of
United,
the table.
Chelsea, and Liverpool in the 6 games leading up to us, and they didn't lose to any of them.
Okay. But the
I think that's
results in the first half of
pretty
the
good.
season have been far better than the results in the second half of the season.
No, that's when
fact.
Bielsa tightened up the defense. That's when he lost Calvin Phillips. Remember?
Do you guys get the Sky commentary feed in North America? Because that was the game where they spent the whole game saying how wonderful Leeds were when we beat them in the first game. The commentators were just constantly going on about how wonderful Leeds were, and we beat them.
They were just pumping Bielsa's tires the entire time.
Yeah.
That was probably a reaction to like the styles of play that were, Jose playing ugly football that can win you matches, and Bielsa playing beautiful losing football.
I mean, when we played Leeds the first time, that's when Bamford was at the top of the goal scoring charts. That's when they were in, a higher position in the league. It wasn't until middle of the season and towards the second half of the season that when they started getting injuries, that they started dropping down the table.
I think that the games that we won with Mourinho, the Leeds and Man United game, Man City and Arsenal. Yes, we didn't have possession, but we could equally argue that we were in control of our destiny at that point. And when the players sort of down tools, that's when everything started going wrong.
He compromised himself after that. Well, before that Everton game, didn't he? When we lost 5-4. After that, he went against his whole ethos and way of playing, didn't he? So, as far as I'm concerned, he compromised himself after that. So, which is most unlike Jose, isn't it? Yeah, the FA Cup game. After that, he took note of the criticism over his style of play. And since when Jose cared about what people say about his style of play, he definitely changed. Whether Levy had a word with him or whether he felt the pressure from the fans and the media, which, again, that doesn't sound like Jose, does it? It doesn't really care what the fans or the media think most of the time, which leads me to think maybe it was Levy said to him, come on, you've got to play more attacking football. And he was quite happy to fail, wasn't he? Because he could turn around and go, see, that's what happens when I try and attack. Our defence can't cope.
See, that's
okay, so
why...
There's Leeds going into the game against us, right? We're at the bottom there, second last game. So a loss to Brighton, a draw against United, a draw against Liverpool, a victory against City, victory against Sheffield,
victory against City was them not playing any players, dude. Come on now, you can't say that's a huge victory. That was the weakest City team they could have put out.
Leeds were down 10 men for like half an hour of that game.
Right, I know. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's how a reduced side Pep played there. They were focused on Champions League. They were rotated guys out. Trust me, I know. I played fantasy and I had triple City and all of them blanked.
Here's the team that he put out: Torres, Jesus, Sterling, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, Silva, Cancelo, Stones, Ake, and Mendy, and then Morales in net. Even City's weakened team is still better on paper than Leeds United.
And 10-man Leeds.
As a promoted team, you'd be happy with those results, wouldn't you, Cody? To be fair.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be happy with those results if I was Tottenham.
Yeah. Right, but to say they played better against us that match than they did the first one is not the case. They were on better form. I said
they were playing
than they
better
are now.
Football.
No, they were on better form then than they were now.
Did you see those running stats that were released today showing how much further and faster the amount of sprints they'd done compared to the other teams? They were off the chart on their own, Leeds. Was it you that tweeted it out, Cody?
Sorry, what was that?
The running stats and the sprint stats of Leeds United compared to all the other teams. I think it was released today.
No, I didn't tweet that.
Let me see if I can find it.
We saw them in January. They had beat West Brom 5-0, Leeds 1-0. They lost to Man U, but they beat Newcastle 5-2. They lost to West Ham, Chelsea, but they beat Everton, drew with Arsenal.
I can't believe it. Well, I should have said something earlier. Yes, you're absolutely right. They were in better form. Cody, he was right.
No, I don't agree.
I was making pizza. Sorry, I was away for a bit.
It's
They were in good
by
form,
the
man.
by.
They were in good
They've
form.
picked up form in the month of April and May, but from
there's
January
the results
to
coming into it. Okay,
March.
so they were beating lesser teams, but how can they have been in better form when they lost 6-2 to Man United? And when you compare that to this,
because that's when
they
Man
held them to a
United was
0-0
on their
draw.
top form. Man United's forms dropped. City's forms dropped. Liverpool's form had dropped. Chelsea's form has dropped. Right. So when you're using
Chelsea
the status
in the finals
of the team,
Champions League, and they've dropped. No, I can't agree with this because look at
no,
the
their
teams.
performances in the league have dropped. Cody, that's ridiculous to not say that.
I don't know
At
how
the
you can
end
look at that.
Just because of the team, where the team sits on the table doesn't mean that it's a tough game. It has to do with when they're playing on them based on form, right? That's the basis of FPL, right? When you go into a fixture and you're going to pick players, it has to be based on one, the fixture, two, the form of the fixture, and three, the form of the player, right? That's the key to it. If you're going to be successful at FPL, you have to be able to know that just because Leeds is playing Chelsea this week doesn't necessarily mean that Chelsea is going to win that match. You have to look at the statistical lead ups in and out of it, the form of the players, the form of the team, and the form of those teams. City.
Well, how the hell did you fabricate that opinion in 60 seconds if that's all the stuff that you have to do? I don't agree with that at all. Right?
Fabricate
you just know it. You just know off the top of your head what the form table was for 8 weeks leading into the
because I played triple leads in the first half of the season, and I know what my attacking returns were for Dallas and Rafinha and Bamford.
3 players. That's what you're basing your opinion on.
Because you can only have 3 players in FPL. That's all you can have. I can't have any more than that.
I'm sorry. When you go unbeaten against the 4 best teams in the league in the 6 weeks leading up, you cannot tell me that your form is worse than this, where you lost.
Yes, because it's not based on the form of the team you're playing on. When they lost 6-2 to Man United, it was when Man United was hot as fire, moving up the table like a forest fire.
Sex machine.
Right. And now they're sitting in second with no chance of dropping out of the top 4. And they've got other competitions that they're placing priority to, and they're not giving as much effort into the league as they were then. It's a completely different situation. You have completely different mindsets of the managers, completely mindsets of the teams.
Well, by that logic, we should have smashed them.
We should have. That's how poor we are.
Yeah,
that's how poor we are.
We are poor.
Agree to disagree on this one, I guess.
We are poor.
The level of the team you're beating has nothing to do with the form of the team and what that they're in. Right, it has to do with what were their results against lesser sides.
So the top 4 sides in the English Premier League just happened to all be playing poorly when Leeds played them the second time.
City's been dropping points the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So you're not saying that's bad form? Manchester United's been dropping points. Chelsea have been dropping points. That's why we were still in the top 4 conversation. It's because the top 4 or 5 teams in the league were in bad form around that time.
But those 3 teams you just listed all made their way into cup finals, right? Manchester United, they're in the Europa League
because they weren't prioritizing the league. Yes, it's an obvious.
No. You have to give credit where credit is due. You have to give credit where credit is due.
Giving credit where credit is due. Beating Manchester City at that point in time is not the same as beating Chelsea, Manchester City in the tide of form.
So on March 13th, Chelsea had no interest in winning this game. Chelsea were taking their foot off the gas in the middle of a top 4 race. They weren't even in the top 4 at that point. Categorically deny this opinion.
No, when did Tuchel come in?
What, they sacked Frank Lampard in February, I think.
Okay, and what was their form, Chelsea's form, when they did that? What were the results of the first 4 or 5 matches of Tuchel? All draws.
Look, we could go on forever about this. For me,
because you're taking out of context. You're looking at a score line and saying, "Boom!" Just because it's Chelsea, that was a good Leeds is on form. No, that's not the case. There's more things that are in this. It's just the fact of the matter. Chelsea were in piss poor form. They were down to 8th, 9th at the table at points. They sacked Lampard. Tuchel came in, and his first results were straight draws. It was draw after draw after draw after draw until you guys win. Then they started winning. They're still not in super good form. It's just the fact that everybody else around them has been just as poor, right? Liverpool's been on poor form. You're going to say that if Leeds beat Liverpool during this season, that all of a sudden Leeds is a super team? No, that's not the way it works. It's just Liverpool's been so poor. Leeds beat us not because they were a better team than us. They beat us because we were poor. We were more poor.
And them, so us and the top 4 teams in the Premier League were all just shitting the bed against Leeds by chance.
Yes.
No.
It's not by chance. When you have an attacking team that presses high up the pitch and you're in bad form, right? That gets at you. But what I'm saying, you're saying that they were in better because they beat us this time, they were better than they were the last time. And that's not true. They were in far better form the first time we played them than they were this time. It's just that we were in far worse form.
You cannot prove that statistically.
I can. You can look at the statistics. You can look at possession statistics. You can
there's
look at
statistics
XG.
right there.
The
There's
one you like.
scores.
No, that's a score line. That's not a statistic. There's not a single statistic listed there. That's a
The
score
thing is,
line.
you can't just so like we would have to do like a complete breakdown on the form table of each of these
Exactly.
games for you to actually like ratify your opinion.
Exactly. SofaScore will throw it out there and they'll tell you the overall team score. Form
No,
score.
you know, the silly thing is that I predicted 4-1 win to Spurs at that time.
You can look at how many attacking returns did Bamford have in his last 6 games before and after the match versus the one in the first one.
yeah. You're right.
No, Cody's trying to say that like the Leeds United is some
Okay, let me
masterclass
ask
team
you
that
this:
turned us
you're
over.
using your what is it? Your FPL because you had to. So that measures offensive statistics, right?
And defensive statistics.
Okay,
all
so
of it, yeah.
are Leeds better? Have they
Midfield?
been better defensively in the first half of the season or the second half?
I don't know. I'd have to go look, but I would assume based on my points returns from Dallas is that they've been better defensively. Although it's hard with Dallas because he gets a lot of attacking returns.
So how does that support your opinion?
Because they weren't scoring as many goals, they weren't winning as many matches, there weren't as many clean sheets.
Maybe we'll have to do a little more research on this because I think we're probably getting to the point where the viewers are getting a little bored of this conversation. We'll come back to this. We'll do something on this.
Do it maybe on the Ball and Bear Tottenham Boys show.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
do
that'll be fun. A couple of hours arguing.
I reckon it was that one argument. Yeah. I reckon.
like, subscribe, and comment to this trash show.
Make sure you do like and subscribe. We only need like 4 more to get to
over how bad
700.
we are, right? Oh, you're not fighting how good we are. That's so.
We got about 2 or 3 minutes. Johnny, any last words, my man? Tell us people where they can find you and what we're doing.
I'm over on Shelf Side Spurs if you want to come and
This is worth putting up there again.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
agrees with how bad we are, man. Did you see that? Not content with us having to deal with Leicester parade in the FA Cup, the first game with their fans in. That they announced earlier that what's the centre back called? He's retiring, isn't he? It's his last game. It's going to no, the other one. From
Wesley Morgan.
Yeah. Wes Morgan's retiring, so the fans are going to
Okay.
be. That's another
Giving
bow
a
to
lack
hit us
of
with.
honor.
Yeah, it's going to. Yeah, the crowd are going to be up for that as well, aren't they? We could get
Not
absolutely
like our
pumped.
shitty level of honor.
Oh, we could get absolutely pumped here, couldn't we?
Oh, we have a very good chance of finishing 9th.
Mm.
Yeah. What do you think if we don't make Europe?
I don't even care about Europe. All I care about is if Arsenal finish on top above us.
Because we've been bantering them so hard this season about being below us. Could
For
you imagine
years,
if the last match of the year they move up 1 point ahead of us? That would be
That would be one of the worst seasons I can remember, if I'm honest, if that happens.
West
This
Ham
is-
and
this
Arsenal.
is
If Arsenal wins and we draw and they're gonna jump us, right?
Yeah. But
We
the
need
thing
to
is,
win.
like, I know what you're saying, Johnny, about West Ham, but at least this is like the best West Ham I can remember.
True.
Right? This is the worst Arsenal team that I can remember.
Yeah.
And they're going to finish above us potentially on Sunday. That's embarrassing.
I mean, all we gotta do is just draw. All we have to do is draw Leicester too. To be honest with you, it's all we gotta do is draw them, and then Arsenal can't get ahead of us.
Oh,
I don't think.
if we draw, okay. All right. If we draw, then Arsenal can
behind
drop
us in
us.
the table.
No, they've
No,
got
it has to
58.
be.
Will they can get 61? So if a
Yeah,
draw will
they
leave
have
us
to
on
win.
60. Just looking at it now.
Yeah.
Leeds can jump above Arsenal. That's positive mental attitude here.
If we draw and Arsenal win, they finish above us.
Yeah.
We
I
need
thought
to-
they were on. I thought they were 2 points behind us.
We need to match the results of Everton and Arsenal, really.
That
Yeah.
means we might even drop down to 9th.
Everton have got
Yeah.
Man City, so you'd hope that Man City would do a job on Everton at least.
We could literally be tied with Leeds United on points and only get ninth over them based on.
Yeah, my sole focus is Arsenal. I don't care who else finishes above us, as long as Arsenal
True.
don't finish
I
above
believe
us.
Well, Leeds
Everton are
can't
level
finish
on
above
points
us.
with us. Everton are level on points with us, and their goal difference is +4.
Yeah.
But with respect to Everton,
They
though,
have
like,
58.
did we really expect them to be anything more than what they're doing
59.
now? I mean, they've done well in parts of the season, granted, but I mean, at the start of this season, we were expecting top 4, right? You know, so that they were even saying, "Oh, we could do a title challenge." And when we were shot top of the league, we were all saying, maybe this could be the year.
Be the year.
You know, how deluded were we?
Yeah.
But
Do you think that if Graham Potter beats Arsenal on Sunday, it improves his chances of coming here as manager?
yep, hire him.
It could have been the year. I think we signed one center back in the winter transfer window, and we would have had a completely different season.
Yeah.
In the winter.
January.
You see, another interesting thing is that Jose was saying to us when we were top, "Calm down. This won't last."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the table would look like if you took it from after the Liverpool game to the end of the season. If we'd be in the relegation zone.
Relegation, yeah.
So I saw some crazy statistic. This is
I don't think it's quite that bad. I think we're close to it.
But like
Gotta be,
a
haven't
couple of games ago, there was a statistic going around that Arsenal, over the last 25 games, they were level on points with Chelsea. I found that shocking.
Mm.
But it makes sense. You know, they've closed the gap. What was the gap after the first North London derby? It was like 12, 13 points.
Yeah, we could have pushed it to
Fuck, I hate-
15, couldn't we, if we'd have won?
This club so much right now.
But guys, make sure if you're watching the show that you like and subscribe to the channel. We only need, I think, 4 more now to get to 700. So I'm pretty sure there's 4 people out there that haven't hit that button yet. But if not, and you're watching later on, we would appreciate it. We always do
Let me
get
ask you.
some trailers.
Let me ask you this: if Harry Kane forces his way out, is he a turncoat? Does it matter where he goes? Like if he forces his way out and ends up at Chelsea, is he a turncoat?
Chelsea, if they're the only ones that put in an offer for him, I would say, no, you got to give that to him. That's a tough one though, dude.
Johnny?
I don't know if I could watch.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd go there. But again, it might not be up to him. If Man City offer 150 and Chelsea come in with 175, you know what Daniel Levy's going to do. But I think Kane would say no. You'd like to think he'd say no.
We've had
But
top
does he have a
players
choice?
leave to our rival clubs, and we didn't
True.
turn on them. You know, Pat Jennings. I mean, Greaves came from Chelsea to Tottenham, then he went to West Ham.
Pat Jennings was a similar situation because he was forced out by Spurs. Really, they only offered him a 1-year deal and he wanted a 2-year deal, so they pissed him off, which saw him go to Arsenal. So I guess you could make certain similarities.
What I'm trying to say is that it doesn't make them a turncoat in a sense, does it? I mean, effectively we're the cause of our own.
Yeah.
It will hurt, but
A turncoat is more like a Saul Campbell type deal.
Yeah.
Whereas Harry Kane is more
But
of a.
But there's people that think that is what that's why I asked the question. I put a poll out on Twitter and it was like 1 out of 10 people, and I didn't even put in the caveat of going to Chelsea. I said if Kane forces his way out, is he a turncoat? And I think about 1 in 10 people say yes.
Those are just trolls and Chelsea fans, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Trolls for polls.
And West Ham fans.
Yeah.
West Ham fans.
I asked the question on our podcast the other day, and I'll send it to you guys as well. Is Kane already a Spurs legend, or does he have to beat the Greaves record? The way I looked at it, he's already ahead of Bobby Smith and Martin Shivers and Gilzine, isn't he? Who we consider legends. So I guess he's already a legend.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And he smashed. I mean, you know, Defoe and Keane. Not that they're at the level of the names you just mentioned, Johnny, but you know, he's annihilated their record. So, absolutely.
I think Sons have even moved into the top 10 of all-time goal scorers.
I just checked that goal again.
The things that hurts the most is that he's a Tottenham fan. That's what really hurts. When I saw that interview, all that kept running through my head is he embodies what Tottenham is. He is Tottenham, and we're almost allowing him to go by failing him, which is madness.
Right, he's to daring to and doing. Daniel Levy is pooing. I don't even know what Daniel Levy is doing.
I think that's where a lot of the anger. That's where a lot of the anger comes from, isn't it? Because a lot of the fan base know that we failed Kane in it, and we feel helpless that we can see him slipping away, and our illustrious leader doesn't seem
100%.
to be.
I mean, that's really what pisses me off about Daniel Levy the most.
Yeah,
right. If we were winning matches and he was doing all of his little floof, I wouldn't even care. Right. Like if he was just paying attention to the football side of the business, I wouldn't care about what kind of asshole he is. Right. I really wouldn't. But it's the fact that he's not. It's like he's almost intentionally driving the club into the ground. And he's so narcissistic and delusional that he can't see it happening before his eyes when all of us can.
I think I'm more hurt that Kane is leaving than anything else that's happened this season, if I'm honest. Because exactly what Johnny said, we're almost helpless. We failed him as a club. We failed one of our greatest players as a club.
Daniel Levy failed him.
Yeah, not us personally, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean the club didn't. I would say a lot of his teammates failed him.
Did we do enough when we were watching it all happen?
One thing I did think yesterday, if it's true that Sir Levy had the needle with Jose trying to get rid of Winks and Dele, you'd like to think that his love for Harry would be on another level on top of that as well. So that's the only thing I'm clinging to at the moment, that Levy appreciates him as a player and what his value is to the club, commercially, and how much it's going to cost to replace him. He's got to know his value to the club, isn't he? So that's the only thing that we can kind of hope to cling on to at the moment, isn't it? If he went to that length over Dele Alli and Winksy, you'd think he'd go to great lengths to keep Kane as well.
I think that's.
I think he'll
probably
try.
One of the points of the day, to be honest, Johnny, because Levy as the businessman must be thinking, hold on, if I let Kane go, then Son's going to want to go, right? And how much is that going to cost Tottenham Hotspur? So I'm hoping that he just offers Kane so much money that he just thinks, right, I'm just going to stay and not win anything for the next 10 years because I'm going to be the richest football player in the league.
None of that.
Are you guys a bit surprised? All of a sudden, the Son contract has just disappeared, and there's not saying when he's going to sign it or whatever, and he's kind of feeling out there, right? But I know he's been saying end of the season.
No
gingers. Son will make his decision.
Well,
as a trans ginger myself, no gingers.
Have you been reading anything from the Korean side of things? Has there been any reaction in the Korean media about this whole Harry Kane news?
A lot of reactions.
Yeah,
but nothing that is
positive.
No, nothing that I guess you could say. Look, I would report Korean news because if they had an inside track, but on Harry Kane, they just really don't. It's really just kind of a repeat of everything else that's out there.
I mean, more in relation to Son's situation.
Well, I mean, there's definitely put it into works. They're making connections between the two. What I'm looking for is I'm waiting for some significant Son news to pop up. That's what I'm really watching it for.
And that's going to be one of the biggest double whammies in such a short space of time.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time.
is Levy's greatest weakness, as we perceive it, his greatest strength in keeping Kane and Son? Because if he takes his eye off the footballing side of things and he's so hot into his commercial side of things, he really risk losing Kane and Son with the North American market and the Asian market? I don't think he can. So the weakness, as we perceive it, could be the strength in keeping those guys.
He's got to pay them enough money that they just think, all right, I've got to stay because I'll be a fool to leave on this.
Well, no, but I think what it's going to, but look, that hurts us more as a club. That frustration, it sounds good in the short term, but then what happens is Daniel Levy starts throwing money at him, and they don't take it. Just like Christian Eriksen said, and they said, screw you, we'll run our contracts down till nothing, and you won't get a dime out of us. So you end up getting 20 million out of Harry Kane and 20 million out of Heung-min Son when you could have had 150.
But don't you think though that that's a gamble worth taking, Will? Because if he keeps them, one, he protects his revenue streams, but two, he sends a statement to the other clubs around us that, hold on a minute, we're trying to build something here.
Yeah, but it hurts us in the long run with being able to rebuild our squad. Because look, we couldn't replace Christian Eriksen because we had to let him go for less than any. We can't replace him at the cost that it went. Daniel has to dig out of his own pockets.
I don't see how it hurts us because
Daniel
we're
doesn't
in a
invest money into transfers out of his own pocket. It's his net spend is like almost even, right? So he bases what he can spend on what he brings in. And if we can't sell for players out, then we can't replace them. The reason why we couldn't replace the quality of Christian Eriksen is because we sold him for £20 million, which doesn't allow us to purchase a player that has the ability to do that.
Yeah, no, I understand, Bill, but don't you think that we're at a juncture now whereby something critically has to give, and if anything's going to give, it will be his spending habits, because he's not going to sacrifice anything else.
But you still have to spend right. You have to
be skeptical because his past history is that he doesn't spend. Right. So
then what's the lesser of two evils? We keep Kane and Son, and we try and rebuild to whatever capacity that is, or we lose them both, and then we just squander the money on 20 crap new players.
But they're going to squander it anyway. That's what I'm saying. It's get punched in the face whichever corner you turn around, because if he does sell him for a world record transfer fee or something like that, he's going to go and buy 6 Eric Lamelas,
I think,
right?
Then if that's the case, then I'd rather keep Kane and Son, because that may attract better players than if we don't have them there. Because it's not just about the manager, right? It's about who's already at the club. And if you've got the two world's best forward players in Kane and Son, that's more likely going to attract better quality players than not having them there. I mean, would you go to a club with Eric Dyer and Winks as the best players in the team? Because that's the prospect.
I would find it hard to even watch that team.
Well, there we go. I mean,
but what I'm saying is, if you could go in, with Kane, right? If you could keep Sonny here for another year, right? You sell Kane, you let Kane go, and then you buy you use that money, you reinvest that money back into the team, and you buy a Grealish, and you buy a forward up there, right? Now you've got a team again.
But Grealish, I don't think, as good as that sounds, and Grealish is a fantastic player, I don't think Grealish is the type of player that will uplift Tottenham as a Harry Kane would. He needs good players around him, or a team around
because
him.
Right now our biggest problem is that we have all of our goals are coming from two people. There's no. Whereas like with City, they have from 13 down to 6, but there's like 6 players that are in that 13 to 6 window.
City or Aston Villa?
City.
Yeah, but you can't. There's no point comparing us to City, because they've got 11, 70, 80 million pound players in their team.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Right now, we have 2 really expensive players and then a bunch of trash. If we could spread that out a little bit more, and where we can get 5 or 6 people who can contribute, 6 to 10 goals a season, we've scored more goals than we do right now with just Harry Kane's son.
But that's incredibly hypothetical, though, right? Don't you think?
No,
in the sense that
statistical. It's Moneyball wrapped up.
No, but statistically, you would never have thought that the rest of the players would score so low this season.
Sure they would. They don't have a record of scoring any more than they've scored. Right. The reason why we are so Dele Alli is the only person who's underperforming XG wise from anyone else on the pitch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
right? So the players that we have brought in weren't high goal scorers in the first place. Right? We haven't bought any players who were 10 to 12 to goal a season players.
That's
So
fair point. Yeah.
So we're relying on we've sold Eriksson, who was a 10-10 player, right? Season in, season out. Double digits on both sides of the thing. Harry Kane is doing what he's done. Son's had his best. Now Harry Kane and Son have kind of made up for the lack of Eriksson, but nobody else is coming and filling that role. I mean, Lucas Moura's got his 3 that he normally gets, right?
Yeah.
Lamella's got his 1 that he normally gets. So we need to get rid of those players and start. I figured that from just a simple, logic perspective, if you have 5 people who score 10 goals a season, that's better than having 2 people who score 40. Right? Because that's 50 goals versus 40 goals. And so that's what I would do if I was Daniel Levy. But the problem is I'm not.
But
Daniel
we've proven. I mean, very good points, but I think we've proven that the number of goals we score doesn't dictate the results, because we've scored a lot more goals than other teams in the league, and we've still not won as many as we should have, or drawn as many as we should have. That
comes down to positions in the table, but or places in form throughout the season. The thing is that we've had really big games where Harry and Son have scored like Blazers 5 and 6 or hat tricks for Gareth Bale. Like that, it's been one-off games. That's where all that goal differential comes from. The majority of our score lines are fairly low: 1-0, 2-1, 2-2. You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotta go.
Danny Ings couldn't get 40 goals a season if you strapped him to the crossbar.
He might in the conference
league. Just whack things in with his legs as people shot at him.
He might if we're in the conference league. But I gotta go.
Crying out loud.
Before I do want to. This is episode 2, but episode 3 is coming up next Wednesday, and I have Matty Hayes coming in from Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog. We are going to do what can only be described as an autopsy on Tottenham Hotspur's season. We're planning to go month by month and just have a little bit of a chat how we thought it went. Should be quite interesting, but make sure you tune in. If you haven't liked the video already, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for coming on, Cody.
All right.
Everybody,
Bye,
let's do your things. I didn't realize what time it was. I actually have to get back to work. So,
Okay.
Cool.
Everybody say their
Good,
outros.
guys.
Yep. Johnny is Shelfside Spurs. I'm gonna turn the names on so people can see them, and we'll do some promos here. We got Johnny Einstein, Chef. Bleh, I can't speak. Shelfside Spurs. It's a Sally sells, she sells down by the seashore type of
Shelfside Spurs show.
Yep.
Stream.
The Shelfside Spurs show.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
I have to say that in the first 5 seconds. Every show is bad. It's hard work.
It's tough.
Yeah.
We've got Persuasion TV coming to you from Asia there, and he's going to be having Spurs content for the folks in Asia and Australia. I'm sure I'll make some appearances on that show at some point in time. Then we've got Mr. K with the 3 Wise Men. That you can find that show here on this channel. We have that show. This is the banner for the first episode. The show is on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. New York time, 11 p.m. UK time. And Full Works. He's a member of the Rants channel. He comes to watch the Rants stuff every now and again. Do you have a show or a place or Twitter or anything like that?
I'm just a supporter, and
just a guy.
Just a guy. I just engage when I need to engage.
Sounds good. But you got good points, though. I like your comments, so you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you.
And then I am Will Stewart, THFCRants. This has been another Q&A show. I've lost my notes in the other one.
Don't worry, I'm new Spurs.
Another Q&A show Enoch out, Levy out, Will Stewart THFC rants. Question and answer. We normally do the show on Thursdays, but it is because of all of the content this week. I needed a day off yesterday, or at least one that wasn't full of like 4 or 5 streams. But we also have our pre and post match show that will be coming to you. The match is on Sunday this week, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
4 o'clock UK time. I'm not sure what it is. Your time, Will.
That will be 4 p.m. 1. No,
Asia will be 11. my
11.
time.
11, right? Yeah.
yeah,
PM.
11
PM
a.m.
my time.
for me.
11 a.m. your time. Yeah.
Yep. So we will. My son's done with his matches, so I should be able to be involved in any watch alongs like that. Make sure to check the pre-match rant show, which happens at 10 p.m. New York time. I'm trying to bring that show a little bit earlier, so that some of the UK guys, if they don't want, it seems like 3 a.m. is way too late for most people. I think 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. some people might still be awake. Come on for a little bit, say hi, and then bounce off. And 2, for Eugene, I don't know. So for you, that's
If you do
9
it about
a.m.
9 a.m. my time. Yeah.
I was also thinking 9 p.m. US time might be a good time. We'll see. We'll feel it out. You can check that pre and post match rant show where everybody's invited to come on the show. All of you fans that are in the comments now. The stream was pretty busy today, up to over 100 people at one point in time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for that. You guys are all welcome to join the pre and post match rant show where we can argue with each other and have debates and hug and kiss and do all that stuff all at the same time.
Yeah, Will, I'd
Yeah.
like to give a shout out to Todd K in the chats. Made a lot of fair
Todd's a great
points.
dude.
He made a lot of fair points. I thought I'd give him a shout out for that.
Yeah, Todd K is a great dude. He's from Minnesota. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
Will.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go now.